Too shabby yourself there, Corby. But yeah, there's plenty of that to give away, so you can come to the stage. We've even got some here on the actual commentary box. But the ADAC Digital GT500, 3.573 miles, 5.75 kilometers. There's going to be flat-out GT3 racing.
Yes.
But we all know, guys, you can't win a race on turn one. You can certainly lose a lot of ground in that opening chicane.
I mean, there's the saying, I mean, to finish first, you have to finish first.
Yep.
I think that's a big saying. And obviously, it's an endurance race in some sense, and you need to go all the way through the 2 to 3 hours we're going to see here.
Yeah, I mean, Luke, from your expertise as a commentator, I mean, endurance racing is the pinnacle of sim racing, isn't it?
Certainly is. You're right, you cannot win the race in turn one, but the exception is mountain.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to the fourth and final day of competition for the ADAC 2022 SimRacing Expo. Alex and Corby. We're going to have Paul joining us a little bit later on to mix it up a little bit in the commentary box. I mean, even though my voice might sound fine at the moment, it feels still a little bit rough. I mean, it's great to have a get-together yesterday evening.
Yes.
But here's the starting grid. Team Redline, Arnage Competition on the front row. Beeler Racing and ASAP Triton Racing, row 2. Williams Esports Chill Blast and Williams Esports Racer rounding out the top 3 rows. Door Esports and ASAP Triton Racing round out the top 8.
Yes, and I mean, the field is already super close. We see probably the qualifying times down below.
Yeah, we do. The top 8 teams pretty much were very closely covered. Veloce and Get Closer Racing round out the top 10. Leo Racing, Gather Chain Ballas Esports with DV1 Triton Racing. Team Fordzilla in competition here today will be joined on row 7 by Absolute Motorsport Acelith Sim Racing. GTWR Esports and Door Esports Junior round out the top 16 positions, which is pretty much 50% of the grid. And you can see there is a lot of Weissach's finest on the grid, but also Falterbach for good measure. IES Sim Racing Schweiz, joined by Brabham Esports on row 9. Unicorns of Love and Absolute Motorsport Acelith Sim Racing will start on 20th position. Kramer Racing Esports and cowana Gaming, row 11. Sim Racing Academy and Deutsche Payment Nürburgring round out the top 12 rows.
And
now,
with that, we're still in the 147th. So the field is very close. The competition is super high.
Qualifying did take place offline before the event, so there were multiple sessions for the drivers to get involved with. And looking from what is now going to be a very, very packed grid. WS Racing Esports, Heusinkveld, row 13. Grid Finder and GTWR Esports, number 16, who have gone with the trusted Lamborghini, round out the top 14 rows. Completing the top 30, it's Geeks Energy and Gather Chain Ballast Esports with Writer Engineering Esports and Geeks Energy in the number 35, rounding out the 32 teams. And one last, but by no means least.
I mean, he has the most special person. This is the only team that gets a page entirely for themselves.
Exactly, with a bit of real estate to boot. And with the teams covered by just under 3 seconds in time qualifying. There is the circuit itself. They broke ground back in this particular part of Italy on the 15th of May, 1992, and the 3rd of September, 1922, saw the circuit open. The architect, Mr. Alfredo Rosselli, the lap record, set by a particular friend of someone who's here. Tony Kanaan, you know who I'm talking about, Rubens Barrichello in 2004. The lap times are going to be considerably lower, considerably higher than what we see in Formula One.
Obviously.
But we could see a historic moment. Last year, it was Urano Esports that took the 2021 crown. And there is one driver that could do the double with 2 different teams. And that driver is Louis Naza.
And I mean, that would only goes to show how good he is, again, and that means it's entirely up to him. His driving skills are fantastic, and I think he is so motivated to show us all here that he can do it.
So the drivers now make their way on the formation lap of this iconic historic circuit, the Temple of Speed, 20 kilometers north-northeast of the fashion capital of Italy, Milan.
Yeah, located in the Royal Park.
Yes.
The park more than 2 times bigger than the Central Park in New York. So you have trees, you have a beautiful scenery all over, but you also have this beautiful, incredibly historic racetrack, 70% full throttle. It is truly the Temple of Speed.
And it's also going to be a test on the brakes and the tyres over the course of the race itself. You can now see that the tyres are being warmed up, the brakes are being heated up, the drivers making sure, as Tom Christensen, the Mr. Lamar himself, on a particular documentary with Audi Sport said, you want to keep your weapons sharp. And that is crucial. So the front row is Team Redline, an Arnage competition, 71 versus 100. We've got some of the household names known globally in sim racing. And now we get the real anticipation started. Corby, I know you're as excited as I am.
Oh yes, I am.
I can feel the goosebumps again, because we will very shortly have the lights being shown on the gantry. When those 5 red lights go out, it is full throttle.
And it is full throttle up until the end of the ADAC Digital GT500. It is going to be close. Strategy is going to play a role. Do you change tires? Do you not change tires? When do you go into the pits? Everything will be up to the teams to decide who is going to take the victory at the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2022.
Also, we're broadcasting live on the official ADAC YouTube channel for the entirety of this race. Now, the tension, the anticipation starts to build, because we have 33 cars, each producing between 500 to 600 horsepower. That is 5 figures worth of horsepower, as now the field is being controlled by the front row, heading into the 11th and final corner, now named after the late Michele Alboreto. It's a tight formation as they gear up. 2 hours 36 minutes on the clock estimated. The ADAC Digital GT500 concludes the racing action. It's Redline on pole. Arnage competition alongside. Waits for it. So, are we ready? Are we steady? The ADAC Digital GT500 now build speed. And we're off and racing. Good start by Redline. Heading down to the Variante Rettifilio. 3 wide, just behind. As now they find the optimum apex braking zone going into the Rettifilio. A good start by one of the Williams cars, looks to be. Likely to raise a car. There has been an incident, Favour Racing involved. I think UOL also involved, but Redline, Corby have made good their intentions and they have scarpered away.
They already made clear in the first few seconds of the race that they want to win the entire thing in their Porsche 911 GT3, and we have another one spinning off.
Brabham Esports collected, and that was going to Variante della Roggia. There is more drama behind as we see the 88s go through into shots. That is Absolute Motorsport. Absolute Motorsport, there are 2 cars for the team, the 69 and the 88. Redline have a lead of 9/10 of a second. Going down in towards Variante Ascari, the triple apex. You've got to really, you're going to drop it down from around about 6th gear down to 3rd, turn the car in. The number 5 car, that's the Mercedes-AMG Team Williams Esports, and one of the drivers is the defending champion, Louis Naza, joined by Daniel Pastor.
Field first time heading into the previously known famous Parabolica corner. Last corner of the trip, incredibly fast.
Oh, nice move there. That's Absolute Motorsport going up the inside through Alboreto on Team Fordzilla, who we've got the number 21. That's one of the Door Esports cars, and now we see the slipstream. And what a camera shot! The 966 Porsche of Team Fordzilla looking to try and get the inside line. Door Esports nearly making it 3 wide. But on this occasion, Absolute Motorsport in the 88 get the advantage into Rettaviglia. Great action already.
Yes.
We've had some dramas. At least the thing is, if the dramas happen now, Corby, they can recover, they can come back. The strategy is going to play a big part. Now, there is a balance of performance put in, and the Porsche is the one that is not really affected.
And I mean, we were discussing before why.
See a little bit of a battle further back, get closer racing. To make their way up the order. This is the battle for 8th position. 20 on Esports. And a Veloce. ADAC SimRacing Ballast, get closer racing. DV1 Triton Racing. Absolute Motorsport Ace and SimRacing the 88. Landing at the top 13. The sun is shining down on the temple of speed. Track temperatures will be in excess of around 30 degrees Celsius. 2 hours and 33 minutes of this race. We've got to that 3 already, and still Red Line are trying to pull away. Looks like Beeler Racing have got themselves up into second. Nice move up the inside. That was on Veloce, that was Ballast. Ballast in the 808 going through. Now the Porsche and the Mercedes are side by side. Can the Merc get the side draft down the main straightaway? No. Pulls in behind the Porsche from Veloce.
But now there's the big start, finish straight, the big main straight to gain up and maybe send it into the inside, dive it into the inside, into turn 1, and they are going for it.
Great anticipation there, Corby. They nearly outbrake themselves, and there's the number 20 going through. We're going to have the replay here, powered by Heusinkveld, and you can see just how close they are. This is on the opening lap, and the turnaround, that was Kramer Racing into Unicorns of Love, and then Kramer gets an assist, and then one of the Ballast cars actually holds onto the brakes and stays out of trouble.
But I mean, it is always so difficult on the start, the braking points into this turn 1. It is predominant, it is made for those traffic jams and close situations we've seen here.
Yeah, a little bit of a moment there for Ballast Esports going in the 808, going over the curbs into Della Roggia. And we got the 45! That's the Beeler Racing Team car. Oh my goodness.
And they were in 3rd place.
They were running in P3, and now the drama has really... And one of the top teams as well. You can just see how much this event means to teams such as Beeler Racing, run by and founded by DTM, British Touring Car, and Le Mans legend, Mr. Frank Beeler himself. We had the opportunity to catch up with ever so briefly earlier on this weekend. And it's great to see people such as Frank and other entities, other people, Romain Grosjean, Jenson Button.
Well, Max Verstappen with Team Redline.
Well, yeah, there's the Verstappen.com Racing Association. So here's the moment, and it's out of the corner, it's out of the Lesmo. Lost it, and it's spun, and that's the 1080. A 1080 for the Beeler Racing Team Euronics Porsche. And that was significant front-end damage.
Yes.
Now, one of the other things here, folks, there's no fast repair allowed as per the regulations for the digital GT500. How do I know this? I printed off the regs before I got here.
Very smart, Alex.
Very smart indeed.
But I mean, it also goes to show how tricky those 2 Lesmo corners can be for the drivers.
Exactly.
It's always difficult. It's always a bit of a, the back of the car is always coming out, and you have to hold it in, and maybe the pressure got to them. Maybe there was like, they went a bit too wide, went to the grass. I don't know, but in any case, they went into the wall.
Yeah.
And this is detrimental for their race.
Not quite. I mean, we've still got 2.5 hours of this race to go.
Yeah, but I mean, they have to let the entire field pass in some sense.
Yeah, Veloce now up the inside of the 808 Ballast Esports car, and that's exactly the same point where the Beeler car is. There's the 60, there is one of the cars. That is the 86. That is DV1 Triton Racing. The battles are fast and furious. Esports Razor, so they've got Razor and Chill Blast. And the 55 is the Razor car, the number 5, running the same number as Nigel Mansell when he won the Formula 1 World title back in 1992. And look at the bump drafting. Now they're looking up the inside into Rettifilio. Williams gets the side draft and gets through on Arge. Now the hunt to chase down Team Redline begins.
And with that, Williams Esports Racer is in second place. It is around about a 2-second gap already for Team Redline after what has been pretty much the first 10 minutes of the race. So it will be tough to get that back, but the race is long and there is enough time for Williams Esports Racer.
Yes, indeed, the sister car a little bit further back, but there's also the number 10 of ASAP Triton Racing. There is the sister car for Williams Esports, the Chill Blast car, running in the number 5. A little bit further back down the order, but there is still ground to be gained. But look, the Triton Racing duo are in formation. And this is going to be pivotal. Teamwork is also a part of endurance racing, but then you let them work together, then you let them race in the last 15 to 20 minutes. But there is Team Redline, as always, on point, out front, and has a considerable gap coming out of Ascari, the Porsche 71, Gianni Vecchio behind the wheel, partnered with Max Benecke. Alessandro Bico. It's the Italian, it's the charge of the Italian cavalry.
It's their home race.
It's their home race, and they want to do the business on home soil, virtually speaking. He's partnered with Moreno Sirica. They've worked together before. They've also won 3 races in the 24-hour series esports championship in the Cup division. And they are a formidable force, so keep your eyes on them. A little bit further back, we've got some side-by-side action coming down the main straightaway. And again, you can just see how close it is. And there is DB1 Triton Racing behind Get Closer Racing, who switches towards the inside into the Rettifilio chicane. This is about a 10th and 11th position. More battling up and down the order. And I spot a lesser spotted Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo. So this is the car for the home track.
Might be the only Lamborghini in the field. At least I am not sure if we have a second one there somewhere up.
Yeah, well, we do have 15 and 16 for GTWR Esports, and they're both running the Lamborghini. A few Mercedes, a few BMW, so all 4 of the cars that have been allocated for the ADAC Digital GT500 are being used, and that's what I like to see, a little bit of variety. It is the spice of life, and hopefully we will see how those cars fare. There are some cars that have had some additional ballast. Oh, that was out of the second Lesmo. That was the 21 of Door Esports that just went sideways. They caught that, luckily enough. Apart from when we saw Bela Racing Team Euronics having that massive tank slapper and going into the wall, they did exactly the same thing, but they were wider than that. The 143, there's the SimRacing Academy Porsche coming through the Variante Ascari. And Bela Racing Team now in 27th position. Brabham Esports, the Mercedes AMG, currently sitting down in 29th. 30th, Unicorns of Love, Reiter Engineering Esports. As there is the Deutsche Payment car, the 87. And they've got a 4-driver crew.
I mean, they're already too wide out of the Parabolica.
Come on, give it its right name, Alboreto.
Alboreto. I'm still kind of refusing for using the new one.
It happens to me all the time. The number 21 Door Esports Porsche gets through on the 87 of Deutsche Payment. More slipstreaming happening. And that was the BMW. Looks to be the number 8. That's Gridfinder. Gridfinder getting through on the number 69 Absolute Motorsport Porsche. And the Gridfinder car's looking a bit worse for wear on the front, the front bumper, and
also
so's the back end as well. They've been in the wars, they have already.
Might be in the middle of the chaos at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, that's always the way. There's always a bit of pushing and shoving. So whether they've been squeezed a little bit. There's the GTWR number 16 Huracan trying to get through on the number 69, which bounces over the curbs. The 69's round, and the Lamborghini is off the circuit, but still recovers.
The 69, that's Absolute Motorsport. SLF SimRacing now dropping back through the field up until the 29th,
No,
now
they've just
30th place.
Sorry, they've just been passed by the Unicorns of Love, and there is smoke. There is smoke from the back end.
And that's not looking good.
That's where the engine's placed. Oh, dearie me. The number 69 Absolute Motorsport Porsche smoking from the back end. And at this early stage, that is disaster for their campaign. But look at the train of GT3 cars coming out of Variante Ascari, heading into Alboreto at turn number 11. There's the 966 of Team Fordzilla closing in on the 88, the sister car of Absolute Motorsport. And now they're getting into the slipstream. And one of the things I like about sim racing, the liveries.
Oh, yes.
There is so much colour. There is so much colour.
There's so much variety as well. It is
Yeah.
so super individual. You can basically try anything, do anything, and design it the way you want to have it.
Of course, and you can see, well, we'll see a little bit later on the brake discs on these cars glowing red under the heavy braking zones from full throttle and into the Retrophilia. There will be 6 gear, and I've spotted when the drivers were doing some practice this morning at around 260 kilometers an hour. There's a bit of a side-by-side action. That was Brabham Esports getting through on Geeks Energy. So Brabham Esports now making a resurgence up the way through the field. And there is the Bela Racing Euronics car, the number 45. Now trying to close in. Looks to be Kramer Racing just up in front in the 977, which is the case. They're going to go into Della Roggia. That's turns 4 and 5, hard on the brakes. And bumping over the curbs. They are using so much curb. But that's also going to cause a problem with the tyres.
Yes.
Because they're effectively, they're going to be stepped, whereby there is going to be an obtuse angle of how the tyre profile is going to have a contact patch on the circuit. If they do that too often, as we saw with Absolute Motorsport in the 69, the number 16 GTWR Esports Lamborghini, we can see that if you whack it on the curbs, it is not necessarily...
It is not pleasant.
It's not pleasant. Well, we've got another move happening here. That's the 888 car of Get Closer Racing. 888, the number used by Craig Lowndes throughout his esteemed career. Now a very capable broadcaster with Australian supercars. They're being closed in on. We're riding on board. DB1 Triton Racing, Piotr Jagotitsky.
Yeah.
And look at the speed, 6 gear, 260 kph, 8,500 RPM, 264 kph into first gear, 74 kilometers an hour. Through the rights, through the left, now up the gears, second gear, 130 kph, now third, putting the traction down.
Full throttle through the Curva Grande.
Right, under investigation from race control, car number 71, Team Red Light. That possibly could be for a jump start infraction,
Yes.
but we will wait. There is an investigation underway at the moment, so we'll leave that to the race control and the race direction team.
I mean, they had a fantastic start in any case.
They did, but was it too
Legal.
good?
Yes.
That's the €64,000 question that we need answering, and we will find that out in due course. So here's a replay. Now this is what we saw earlier, 69 versus 16. And yeah, it was just the way, there was a little touch between the two.
Yes.
The Lamborghini having a little bit of a love tap, the word that you now like to use.
Oh, yes.
Since the exhibition races on Thursday nights.
I mean, that's how fast it goes. You get the little love tap, you get
Yeah.
onto the curbs, those chicanes, they are super tight, and then
Yeah.
it's already too late. You don't have any chance to react, to correct, and you just
Oh,
are
here we
a
go,
pilot.
pedal for second now, very much on. The 55 Williams Esports Racers, Alessandro Bico behind the wheel. Right up the back bumper of Jimmy Antonez from Arnage Competition. Race control, incident 2, car 163 and 53 under investigation. Ballas Esports Gatter Chain and the 53 of Geeks Energy. And now the Mercedes, despite being hampered with a 22 kilo penalty, weight penalty, or weight ballast that is. And the balance of performance, Corby, is very, very important. You want to have a level playing field for everybody.
I mean, it makes racing so much more intense, so much more fun to watch in the end if everyone has the same chance. If you have the variety in the cars. I mean, going through the field, we have a lot of Porsches. We only have Porsches and Mercedes within the first 13 cars, and then we have the first Lamborghini Huracan with GTW Esports 15 in 14th place.
So battle again between the 888 and the 808, as they are now both behind Veloce. There's the number 15 GTWR Esports car closing in on the 88 at Absolute Motorsport. Oh, don't tell me this is going to be a repeat of what happened with the other two cars.
Please don't.
Yeah.
And we have updates from race control decision. Incident number 1, car 71. Warning. There's a warning for a Team Redline. That's our leading car.
That may be for the jump start infraction, but they may have just been told you should have just kept it a little bit closer to the, you shouldn't have gone away from the front of the field. Obviously, that jump starts are heavily penalised, and that could have been possibly a drive-through or of some kind of infraction. Veloce still trying to keep in touch with those in front, the number 28. And it looks like we might be coming up alongside back marker traffic very early, I fear. That is one of the BMWs. That's Heusinkveld that has... and Door Esports, Jonas van Druyten battling away with Dominic Hoffman from Veloce.
I mean, going through to the back of the field, we already have a few cars that have been lapped. GTW Esports 1 lap behind, same with the number 16. We have the Absolute Motorsport SLS SimRacing, the number 69, 1 lap behind. Renvelton 5 laps behind. And at the back of the field, unfortunately, the boys from Cowana Gaming 7 laps behind. So there must have been some incident. There is no time lap yet from them. So potentially they're entirely out of the race.
Right, under investigation, incident number 3. Oh, the 143 SimRacing Academy car's just gone off. Might have had a little bit of a squeeze, but incident number 3 under investigation for causing a collision. Cars 14. I think it was 18 and I didn't really catch the third number because we had that incident. we had that in the way. That's.
I mean, that happened a lot. It's a lot to keep track of. We already had such an action-packed race.
Yes. So we will keep you updated. You will see race control investigations and also decisions on the screen as we see it firsthand. But this battle now is becoming a 5-car battle for second position.
Oh, yes.
So Jimmy Antonez is leading the train. Alessandro Bico is right up the back bumper, and he's going to pull out to the left-hand side. It's going to be 3 wide. ASAP Triton Racing 152 gets the pair of them down the start-finish straight and moves up into second.
And what an overtake, taking both of them, passing both cars, and now into second place. The first one to chase the leading car by Team Redline now is ASAP Triton Racing 152.
Wow, that was
what a maneuver.
That was absolutely textbook. And they capitalized, they got the double toe. They got the double toe. Oh dear, we've just had news from Florian Bauer from, well, I think we're going to try, I think Corby's going to get some information from Florian Bauer of what's happened with the guys at Cowana Gaming. But ASAP Triton Racing, the 152, now takes second position, followed by Williams Esports Razor. Arnage Competition demoted down to 4th, and ASAP Triton Racing number 10. And what's more, keep your eyes on the number 5. Williams Esports Chill Blast now joins the fray, but Alessandro Bico is not giving up on that second position. He wants to be the one that leads the charge of the Light Brigade to close in on our race leaders, Team Redline.
Yes, and I just got information from Cowana Gaming. They're entirely out of the race. There was a little incident involved with Brabham, and they got hit when they came back onto the track again, and there's a total carnage. They can't use their car anymore. So that's our first team out of the race.
That's a real shame. That is a real shame for Cowana Gaming. However, these things do happen.
I mean, we have 32 cars still in the race. And another decision by race control. Incident number 2, there will be no further action taking. I think that might have been the incident about causing a collision.
Yeah, well, Alessandro Bico was looking up the inside, but there is a move. Arnage Competition loses another position. The number 10 Porsche gets attacked from behind through the Retzafilio chicane, and that gives Williams Esports Chill Blast, Daniel Pastor behind the wheel, the opportunity to get through. It was only a matter of time, Corby. We had that concertina effect, and then the domino effects happened.
I mean, they have been fighting for so long in such an intense fashion here on the first few places in the top 10, and at some point it had to happen. At some point it had to go wrong, and in the end it was ASAP Triton Racing who, got hit.
Yeah, well, it was the 152 that was ahead and got attacked from behind. I'm sure that might be under investigation by race control. We'll wait for their decision to inform us directly via the notification messages. We go back to the 808 Leo Racing Gather Chain ballast car, trying to close in on the Get Closer Racing. That might be a bit close for comfort. And the Mercedes is right up the exhaust pipe of the Porsche. We're going to have a look at a nice little slow-mo
and this
replay.
is so spectacular. I love it how you throw those GT3 cars through the Ascari chicane. I mean, they're jumping up, they're jumping down. You really push it hard on the limits, push it over the curbs, even the sausage curbs over there, how they're flying through that.
Yeah, a beautiful slow-mo shot, and a big thank you to Heusinkveld for powering the replays here at the ADAC Digital GT500. So 2 hours and 12 minutes to go, an anticipated 88 laps to be completed of this fantastic circuit. And the sunshine is on our side, Corby, and it's provided us so far over the last 20 minutes with nothing than a heart stopper.
Yes, beautiful weather for a beautiful race. We see another battle emerging. It's the car number 88 in 14th place. That's Absolute Motorsport, SLF SimRacing chasing GTW Esports 15 in 13th place. Battle for P13 as indicated here on the right. We have some other teams interfering. ADAC SimRacing Schweiz already very close behind. Der Esports Junior also trying their best to gain up positions through the field.
Right. I've just been handed a piece of paper. I love the fact we could get the information handed to us. All right. For Geeks Energy, car number 17 that is currently sitting in 23rd position, Sean Terra, 13 years and 3 weeks of age. The youngest professional driver in German sim racing. How's about that? We've got some of the stalwarts, and we've got the young, hungry lions in the ADAC Digital GT500. That's what it means to sim racing.
Yes.
The top prize out of a combined prize pool of 10,000 euros, 2,000 to the winners, 1,250 euros to second, and then third place picks up a cool 1,000 euros. They are not just battling for prize money, they are battling for the top prize of one of the biggest events in sim racing known around the globe.
Oh, yes. And I mean, how impressive is that? 13 years of age. I don't know if I can say that on broadcast, but I would have probably shit my pants if I would have been him.
You know what? That's the first time he's sworn on commentary. Good man.
Let's go.
There we go. Let's go. Let's have it. Well, I think the most restrained person has been Luke Crane.
Oh, yes, true. He's been always reminding people, don't swear, come on.
Well, I said balls to the wall yesterday, and that's beside the point. But the good thing is we are now seeing the battle between Geeks Energy we're actually seeing Geeks Energy in the 53 behind WS Racing Esports, who have brought their Golf GTI TCR, which if anyone is here at Hall 8 or Hall 9, it's just by the actually just by the paddock box of Triton Racing, funnily enough. And I also remember a familiar name, and I've commentated on this driver before. A big shout out to my man from Karting Rapport, Bartosz. Jerzy Glacz is in the crew for the 152. I remember him when he competed in the Rotax Max Euro Trophy. Right, incident number 3. No further action has been decided by race control.
I like that. I mean, race control, mainly keeping out of the race, do not interfere too much. We've had mainly race incidents, nothing that was meant bad in any case, nothing too much over the top. So nice that they keep them racing, because that's what we want to have. We want those tight battles, those intense moments.
The other thing that we also want is that we want decisions to be made in a very, very quick-fire fashion.
Yes.
But you want to make sure that they are making it with all the correct camera angles. The thing is with racing, and we're getting a decision, as in an under investigation, incident number 4, cars 10 and 55. That's ASAP Triton Racing
the incident
and
down
Williams
into
Esports.
turn 2.
Yeah, that was Williams Esports, the number 55, the Razor car. So I do actually have, I have, funny enough, direct communication with Seb Hawkins. He's messaging me. This is what I like about sim racing.
So nice.
You can message people via Discord to keep them informed, which is fantastic. And the camera angles that we're getting here on iRacing. Now, I mentioned the other day that a bit of history can be written, but that's if it does transpire, because Louis Naza was with Urano Esports last year. They were the ones that picked up the crown of ADAC Digital GT500 champions. He could be probably one of the only people, maybe even the first person, to win it with 2 different teams. But there's still just over 2 hours of this race to go.
And I mean, it's been already going quite well for him. He's sitting with his Williams Esport Chill Blast number 5 car currently into 4th place.
Yeah.
Gap of about 5 seconds to the leading car, Team Redline. So there's still
and
time to close that gap.
Funny enough, we're actually now riding on board with Daniel Pashtor from Williams Esports Chill Blast. 1 of 2 Mercedes. Race control, correction under investigation into number 4. Cars number 10, ASAP Triton Racing and Arnage competition in the 100. Now the speed builds full throttle. Foot to the floor. It was the best part of nearly 260 kilometers an hour. They go all the way down the gearbox from 6th to 1st. Now Pastor puts down the throttle. Takes as much of the inside curbing heading into Curva Grande at turn 3. Hugging the apex. Building the speed. Accelerating up the gears. And now it's going to be the rundown and then the hard braking zone down to Della Roggia. Oh, right. First stop and hold penalty. Arnage competition for incident number 4. Get hit with a stop and hold. 5-second penalty as decided by race control. So Arnage competition's race, they thought it might have been a bit battered after that first incident. Now it's going to be a bit of a world of pain right now.
Yeah, and that's our 5th place car in the moment, just doing some quick calculations, putting 5 seconds out of that. They will drop back until around about 9th or 10th place, so this is huge for them.
Exactly. Now we're going to see some side-by-side action. Oh no, it was the 21. The 21 just span around through the Rettifilio chicane whilst going round the outside of another car. I think that would have been the 269 of IES Racing Schweiz. But now the number 55 is still closing. The thing is, Redline have got a 3-second advantage at the head of the train. Now, Redline have been going for over 2 decades. They have some of the best talent around. Enzo Benito, Max Benecke, Gianni Vecchio, who the latter 2 drivers who are here with us racing. You know, Kevin Siggy. As soon as you mention Kevin Siggy, you don't need to say anything else.
No.
But it's great to have all these teams here with us at the ADAC SimRacing Expo. One of the requirements was them to be on site. So there is nowhere, I mean nowhere, to hide. And Seb Hawkins is the best of you saying, that penalty didn't involve us, and we knew there was a correction. He said it scared the bejesus out of him. Well, I'm not going to use his exact words, but I'm going to have a laugh and a giggle at that later. But
I think everyone can imagine what he said.
Well,
we'll leave it up to the imagination of the viewers.
Shall we? Moving swiftly on, back onto the trackside action. We are racking up the laps here at the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500. Big thank you to everyone that is continuing to watch the action with myself, Alex Goldschmidt, and Corby Rubenbauer. Now we've got some Lamborghini action happening. I think that might be the number 15 car, which it is. And they are closing in on the 966 Porsche 911 GT3R of Team Fortilla. Conor Carnick behind the wheel of the number 15. Partnered, I think, with Giorgio Simonini. The car started in 15th, currently now 13th position. Looking to make it probably closer towards the top 10, maybe in the next few moments or so. It just depends on how quickly this car can get past that Porsche. And at the moment, Corby, it's not quite happening.
No, definitely not. And maybe this is also a good moment to remind you guys, get in touch with us through social media, through Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever we are streaming live. We're also having an eye on the YouTube and Twitch stream, so if there's any question, anyway, you want to get involved with us also on the commentary desk, just put your messages in, type in, and do it like GTW Esports.
Right, nice move there. Nice move, GTWR Esports number 15. Gets past Team Fordzilla. That was for 12th position. There is a bit of a gap, probably the best part of 4 seconds, up to the car next in front of them, which is the 86 of DV1 Triton Racing. And now we've got a scrap going on. There is the number 8 grid finder car, the number 53, and the 163 Gatter Chain Ballast Esports grid finder. Do not tell me you're going to go through that corner around the outside of Geeks Energy. They are. They'll give them the inside run for the Della Roggia chicane. And they're right up the tailpipes of the Mercedes of Ballast Esports. And Geeks Energy sends it round the outside. That's an outrageous manoeuvre. Outrageous. Geeks Energy bringing more than just the colour on the livery. They're bringing the colourful overtaking to the racetrack.
Oh yes, and they make it work, and we have battles through the field. Also back there, the number 45 car gaining 1 place through the 2 less small corners, and now heading up the straight below the old racetrack, below the old oval, up into the Ascari chicane.
Yep. So battle for 19th position, Gatter Chain Ballast Esports, 163, 53 Geeks Energy, who just did the most outrageous move through the Della Roggia chicane that I think I've ever seen in SimRacing.
Yes.
Absolutely nailed it to a post and sent it. Grid finder, Bela Racing, making some good, steady progress after that drama on the opening lap. The 45 car now up into 22nd position, and considering the cars running around them, Bela Racing running in the 1:48.5s. Get this, Corby, as there is the stop and hold penalty being served for Arnage competition. And that, ladies and gentlemen, tumbles them down the order significantly. They were on the front row alongside Team Redline, and the gap in time qualifying offline leading up to this event was less than 1/10 of a second.
And I mean, we talked about how close this entire field is and how close the entire field still is. I mean, we still have only 2.8 seconds separating Team Redline from ASAP Triton Racing 152, and that makes this 5-second stop-and-go penalty even worse and hurt even more.
Well, the excuse me. Top 3 covered by just under 3 seconds. DV1 Triton Racing started 22nd and now is in 10th position. 12 places gained. IES Racing Schweiz have really, you know, it's great how these teams, we get a whole smorgasbord of the sim racing spectrum when it comes to what's happening. And now we're going to see the number 69 being pressurized. Or was that the 88? No, that's the 88 of Absolute Motorsport being pressurized by IES Racing Schweiz, who've got the now recovering Sim Racing Academy 143 car. And now the 143 is going to get a double slipstream. Remember what we saw in that move?
Yeah.
Courtesy of ASAP Triton Racing 152.
We've already seen someone pass 2 cars on the main straight.
That was it's like what we say in the United Kingdom when you go to the supermarket. You get a bog off buy one, get one free. And that's exactly what the 152
Oh,
got
yes.
then. But yeah, I mean, to see now, we're getting into a steadier rhythm here at the ADAC Digital GT500.
I mean, the race is calming down a bit. The field is ordering.
Yeah, well, what we're going to do, we're going to carry on our race coverage on the ADAC YouTube channel. But, ladies and gentlemen, let's hand back to Luke Crane on the stage. Luke, over to you, buddy. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for bearing with us. We are back in the saddle for the 2022 ADAC ADAC Digital GT500. Corby, we've got Grid Finder and Geeks Energy going side by side. There's a little bit of a touch, and BAVARIA looking to nearly make it 3 abreast at this point. Wow, this action has just been absolutely fantastic so far. And from that perspective, we know that this racing is full throttle all the way through, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, Corby, it's absolutely... So, Corby, another investigation. Incident number 5, cars 15 and 88, GTWR Esports 15 and Absolute Motorsports. BAVARIA are really looking to make their way through the field, but side by side between Geeks Energy and Grid Finder coming through Curva Alboreto. Grid Finder sweeps to the inside. BAVARIA looking to get the double toe. It's been a fantastic start to this race, hasn't it?
Oh yes, it has been. It has been an intense race, and we have the next intense battle. We already see how the cars like got deformed by getting squeezed. We see it on the back of the BMW here before, and we have another investigation. It's incident number 6, car 55 and 100, which are under investigation. That are, let me check back.
That's Ardage Competition and Williams Esports. The number 55 car currently sitting in 3rd position. Williams Esports racer with Alessandro Bico behind the wheel. But again, BAVARIA looking to put the brightness on Grid Finder coming through the Della Roggia into the 2 Lesmos. This is where we saw BAVARIA come unstuck on the opening lap, but they're a little bit more primed, a little bit more planted coming through. And Geeks Energy does a Travis Pastrana. And now here is WS Racing Esports. This is into the Retzofilio. Hold the brakes. Oh, they got out of trouble with that one. They got a get out of jail free card.
Oh,
they were very, very lucky indeed.
Maybe a bit too late on the brakes and had to go a bit too deep into the corner, and then you just lose your rear side.
Code Brown. You've used that, I've used that. There we go.
Let's go.
One apiece.
I think we have.
Oh, we have a
the
pit stop.
first
We have
pit stops coming in. It's
so that's
number
the
86 car.
Yeah, 86 DV1 Triton Racing. A flurry of activity in the pit lane. And they are stopping ASAP Triton Racing. The number 10 car has been in the pits for over 20 seconds. And now this is really going to change the dynamic of this race.
Oh, yes.
From this perspective, because pit stops are crucial in an endurance race. You've got to use both drivers as much as you can. We've got teams that have come through with 4 3-driver crews. I think I even saw a certain name, Danny Juicer, possibly. Oh. That ain't gonna happen because Cowana Gaming are out.
I mean, the boys are unfortunately already out of the race, so he won't be able to participate and step in. It's very sad to not see Danny in the race.
I've got a nice German terminology to say. Hey, Schadenfreude.
Oh yes, Schadenfreude is the beste Freude, so that means
exactly
it is the best.
But at the moment
we have Der Esports here in 7th place, trying to defend against the Deutsche Payment, which are chasing 1.2 seconds behind. We have another investigation, incident number 7 by now, car 143 and car 15. That's GTW Esports and SimRacing Academy, which are in 13th and 16th place, and they might have been pitting, so this might have been for speeding in pit lane. We'll check back with race control.
Well, I've just had insider word from Seb Hawkins at Williams. They have protested the incident referenced 55 and 100 because they got a 4X as a result of the Exeter T1.
Oh.
So under investigation, incident number 8 has just been pinged on our screens. So there are investigations going. But endurance racing, Corby, it's the coup d'etat, you know, the pièce de résistance of GT3 racing. And we're now seeing a lot of cars coming in. And is that red line? That looks to be red line that is in the pit lane. It is. And the top 8 are now in pit lane. And now it's going to be,
it's going to be close, and we'll be racing.
Williams Esports Racer have jumped Tryson in the pits. They've got up to second, and now we've got a race on our hand. Incident number 5. No further action, folks. No further action. And now,
we have a race for first place in our hand because it's Team Redline who lost their entire gap, their entire advantage up in the pit lane. Williams Esports Racer now right behind them, 0.5 seconds. And we remember Redline only gained their advantage in the first few minutes of the race. Then it really stagnated at those 3 seconds. So they're not so much faster than Williams. And now that Williams closed the gap, they might be right up there and trying to overtake as hard as possible.
If I know Alessandro Bico, he's avanti, avanti, dai, go for it.
Oh, yes.
He will be pushing. And you know how I think they probably might have done it? Short-fueled. Get the car lighter, because they've got that 22-kilo balance and performance adjustment. And with that, also, they're not at full power. The fuel in, 79%. Power adjustment, 95.7% of what would normally be with the true power output of that 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8 under that long, recognisable, menacing snout of that Mercedes AMG Affalterbach's finest. Now we've got Deutsche Esports Junior, the number 21, started 16th, currently 16th. Deutsche Payment have been on the move though, Corby, up from 24th to 15th. That's 9 places gained.
I mean, I'm not sure if they have been in the pit lane yet. We'll need to check back with that. So
we did
they
have
might still need to pit. And
Deutsche Payment have moved up because of the second phase of pit stops. So you're always going to find that you're always going to find that there are going to be moves up and down the order. The strategy is going to change it around. You're going to cycle through these pit stops. So what's that going to do from our perspective and your perspective for everyone at home? It's going to keep you guessing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there are so many tricks you can play with the strategy in such an endurance long distance race. And we now have them side by side through the main straight out. Around the outside goes Der Esports, and they're now right ahead. Will they try to send it back to the inside? No, Der Esports overtaking on the main straight, keeping it clean into the first 2 turns. And now trying to already build a gap through Curva Grande and the upcoming chicanes.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting from that perspective. And I know that there are people already in the YouTube chat saying, why is there not German commentary? This is an international expo.
Oh,
this is for the whole community. So unfortunately, you're going to have to put up with me and Corby speaking English. But
I mean, we can also switch to German, but I guess it would be difficult.
Ja, aber den Vorsprung bei Team Redline dieses Morgen bei dem Start war echt Hammer, ne?
Ja, also ich meine, Team Redline, they really had a fabulous start.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was that the way that they canted away into the distance, Vecchio just launched it. But Alessandro Bico, we know, he's only he's in his late teens. He's one of the young breed of hungry sim racers. I mean, Williams Esports have the likes of young Swedish driver, Alexander Spetz, amongst others. I mean, a lot of the team that are here, they're either in their late teens or early 20s. I mean, Louis Naza, currently studying at the University of Dublin in Ireland, 20 years of age, originally from this very country. And it's so great to see them in person. I have the Richard Hammond complex when I see Louis with Alessandro Moreno. They're the same heights, which is great. Yeah,
I mean, that's always the beautiful thing about those LAN events, about the SimRacing Expo, that you actually get to see all those people you know from the races, you know from online. And we have a short replay.
That's Williams Esports Racer getting down off the jacks before red line, and that's where they made up the time.
So that means they need like to have boxed for a short amount of time. I think they won around 2 seconds in the box.
Nearly 2.5. Nearly 2.5 seconds. So brilliant work there by Williams Esports Racer to keep them guessing. And there's both Williams cars. The Williams Esports Chill Blast car is currently sitting in the number 5 Mercedes AMG. Is currently sitting in 4th place, and they are about 3.5 seconds behind the 3rd place car, ASAP Triton Racing. And look, now you see in the back
it is getting tight.
This is now getting exciting, because you now see the top 8 cars along the same stretch of tarmac from Variante Alboreto up to Variante Ascari.
And now they come out of the last corner. Will Williams Esports Racer try their best into turn 1? They are close enough. They could try to send it down the inside line, but Redline will try everything to defend round into the first chicane. Williams Esports not tight enough, not fast enough on the straight.
No.
So they keep it smart. They keep behind, and they will try again.
I see the tactic. It's like the old days of thunder, cold trickle trick. Remember me? And you know what Alessandro Bico did? He did not keep the throttle pin fully. The car moved back. Strategic, calculated, calm, cool driving from Alessandro Bico. That is the thing now. You do not want to start playing games with Redline. You've got to beat them on the track. And what's more, that shows a hell of a lot more respect. I feel that if he knew he could go for it, if he had the significant overspeed, then yes. But I don't think that the move was on. I think it was more a case of 80 to 90%, whereby he felt, I'm not going to chance it, because first of all, he's going to incur the wrath of Team Redline saying, what was that? And then also incur the wrath of the race stewards. And Williams, I know, are a team that will play by the rule book. They will make sure that that happens in the correct way, the correct manner. And if they don't do it, well, they're going to make themselves look like fools if they don't play the game correctly. However, we're now on to another battle, which is the SimRacing Academy versus the 88 of Absolute Motorsport. And the 88 has gone off. The 88, that was through Ascari, they've gone wide. And now there's the 21. That's the Door Esports Junior car. 3 wide. 3 wide coming out of Ascari. 3 wide coming out of Ascari, my goodness. We've had dramas enough with a 3-way scrap around for 2nd position. And again, it's another 2 for the price of 1. Door Esports Junior get through on Absolute Motorsports and SimRacing Academy.
Unbelievable.
I just can't believe it. This is crazy.
And this shows how good their Esports Junior are doing. And they're again right behind them on the main straight.
They're weaving from left to right. They're weaving from left to right. So like, it's like shake your tail feather. It really is. It's like going to a disco and hearing the song from the Blues Brothers. Come on, let me see you shake your tail feather. See, even I broke into song today. That's
fantastic movie.
That was brilliant. Absolutely textbook. And sorry, I am showing my age as well. But there we go, that's another story altogether. But from that perspective...
Maybe take the opportunity at around about 1:45 minutes left on the race to give you a quick overview of how it's standing right now. We have Team Redline in the lead. Right behind, 0.2 seconds, is Williams Esports Racer, car number 55, followed by ASAP Triton Racing. Williams Esports, car number 5 in 4th place. ASAP Triton with their Porsche in 5th. Veloce 6th. Stir Esports 7th. 8th is Leo Racing, and 9th and 10th. Rounding out the top 10 are DVI Triton Racing and GTW Esports.
Thank you very much. Incident number 5 declared by race control. No further action. So it may have been declared as a racing incident. So we now keep on our way here at the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500. The main event here at the 2022 ADAC SimRacing Expo. It's been a fantastic 3 and a bit days so far. There are plenty of panel talks at the moment. Christoph Seibel and Florian Hasper talking about the future of the virtual competition organisation. But keep your eyes glued to the screen. You can watch that talk with Florian Hasper a little bit later on today once we've finished with you here right now. But Corby,
yes.
So far we've had incidents and accidents, we've had threats and allegations. Incident number 7, no further action decided by race control. You know, I think the choice to go from the Nürburgring to Monza,
it was fantastic.
It was an inspired choice.
Yeah, Monza, an historic racetrack, as you beautifully introduced us in the beginning of the race. It was built in 1922, the current track layout present since the 2000, or more exactly the year 2000, where they changed the chicane on the main straight. Before first chicane, there was a slight right kink and then 2 left-right chicanes, and now it's just the right-left chicane, still prominent for traffic jams, still prominent for incidents at the start like we've seen in the race. But it is what makes this track so truly spectacular. 70% full throttle. It is the tempo of speed in the Royal Park of Monza.
Yeah, a fantastic location. When the Tifosi with the scarlet red Scuderia Ferrari flags every year,
yes.
The Italian Grand Prix. It is colourful, the Italian tricolore being indicated by the, you know, sort of like the flares that they get. I mean, flares unfortunately now being banned at Formula 1 races.
But it is one of the best atmospheres I think you can get throughout the race calendar. As you said, the crazy Italian fans. It is historic. It always delivers. Only going back 1 year, for example, into the Formula 1 race, we had the crash between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton down into turn 1 and turn 2. We had a double victory by McLaren, which was completely unexpected. I think Sebastian Vettel drove home his first win also in the Toro Rosso in Monza. I think it was 2008. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I have to look that up again. Because so many historic races.
And when one of those cars is physically
here at the Expo.
The 2008 Scuderia Toro Rosso, driven by now retired 4-time Formula 1 world champion Sebastian Vettel, and it also has proudly the Fanatec logos on it. And alles Gute zum Geburtstag, 25 Jahre Thomas Jackermeier und Fanatec.
Yes. I mean, it's so nice to have the car here. It's so nice to get this feeling of racing history also here at the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2022. Yeah,
indeed. We're now concentrating on the 269 IEA SimRacing Schweiz. Simon Amosa and Will Chadwick, one of the young guns, the young hotshots at the official Ford Esports Works team. The 966 Porsche currently being piloted by Will Chadwick. Less than half a second, so it is 2 cars from Weissach battling away over 11th position as things stand. And once again, Corby, the Temple of Speed never disappoints, does it, my friend?
No, it really doesn't.
So 1 hour and 40 minutes to go. We have so much action of this race still to come over the course of the next hour and 40 minutes. Stick with us. Enjoy the racing as much as we are commentating on it.
Oh, yes.
And now we've got a battle. This is going to be for what looks to be 10th position. That's the number 15, GTWR Esports Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo, being chased by, that looks to be, that is the 86 car. That's actually a positional change from 10th to 9th for the number 15. So there is Team Redline. Again, we go back to the lead battle. Gap between them just over a 10th of a second. Redline versus Williams Esports Racer. This is going to allow the likes of ASAP Triton Racing and Williams Esports Chill Blast to close. This is great.
This is fantastic. I mean, they have been driving that close since they came out of the pit. That's now 10 to 15 minutes of below 0.5 seconds even, driving behind each other. Somehow Team Redline is keeping ahead. Somehow they are keeping Williams Esports behind. Or Williams Esports is trying to drive it smart, maybe do a bit of a lift and coast on the straights, save some fuel to then go later into the pits and overtakes Team Redline then. Maybe, we don't know. They might have some shenanigans.
We've got a rogue cone. I've just seen coming out of De La Roccia, one of the back markers has just literally destroyed, given a cone a unfitting death here at Monza. Cone Gate rears its ugly head, a bit like Sebring for the VCO ERL Summer Cup earlier on this year.
It's like they're playing bowling.
Yeah, oh, right, okay. Warning given to car number 15, GTWR Esports, for incident number 8. A warning has been given. So some are, you know what they...
What?
These eSport teams, they do like to push the limits, but now Unicorns of Love in the number 14. Going up the inside, Lars Kisser versus Konstantin Romanenko from Gata Chain Ballas Esports. This is for 19th position. Remember when we started this race nearly an hour ago? Where were Unicorns of Love? Turned around in the first chicane.
Oh yes, and now they're already back fighting for that 19th position, maybe trying to get the draft out of the Curva Grande into the Variante della Roccia. But no, out of the outside line, very difficult to overtake there, keeping it clean. Driving it, flying above the curbs.
Did you see how sideways these cars were?
Yes.
Right, out of De La Roccia into the first Lesmo. Wider sweep taken by Lars Kisser from Unicorns of Love. Now into the secondary Lesmo.
Now
Ballas goes a little bit wider coming out of the corner, but does not drop the left rear wheel in the kitty litter. So from that perspective, it was a very, very neat exchange. But that exchange, folks, is due to continue. Now at the moment, having a look down, who has got the fastest lap of the race? Of course, it's our pole sitters and race leaders. 1 minute 47.602 for Team Redline in the number 71 Porsche. And they are still being hounded by Williams Esports Razor. Gap now starting to extend as Unicorns of Love looks to nose up the inside through Curva Alboreto. This is very, very close indeed. Gata Chain Ballas Esports drifts a little bit wide towards the top part of the corner now. Unicorns of Love will have the slipstream, will have the advantage. They pull to the right-hand side, and now the side draft takes effect. Lars Kisser has timed this perfectly, and Unicorns of Love in the number 14 up to what will now be officially 19th position.
And what an overtake, keeping it clean, playing it cool. They don't dive it into the first corner, the first chicane, last lap, because they know they have another chance next time, and they grab this chance, hold it fast, and get this clean pass up another place. And I think, to be honest, there are some more places to gain for the Unicorns if they are continuing to drive like that.
Right, here's the replay powered by Heusinkveld. And that's the Door Esports Junior car, the 21, being followed by the 143 of SimRacing Academy, the 88 Porsche of Absolute Motorsport, Aeslith Sim Racing. Absolutely beautiful to see these cars.
Yes.
They look fast even when there's a slow-mo replay.
Oh, yes. And I mean, what a spectacular combination of corners here the Variante Ascari is. As we've said before, the cars flying over the curbs. And you can do that with those GT3 cars. You can drive them hard over the curbs and get that little bit of track position, get that little bit of more space on the track to capitalize from.
Oh, definitely. You've really got to pick your sweet spots, pick your moments. If there's a particular corner that you know that you can comfortably overtake, then you do it. It's in any racing driver's DNA as such. But now we turn our attention to the battle for 6th position. Dominik Hoffmann versus Lukas Müller. Funny thing is, there are two drivers called Lukas Müller, one with a C, one with a K in the first name. You want to know how I know that? Because I found out the hard way.
Oh.
But the thing was, it was quite good. At least I know that the surname is still spelt the same. But that's the problem when you find these kind of things. Romanenko now against Domi Hoffman from Grid Finder Racing. And Grid Finder have brought a big, big contingent in terms of, well, they were due to run 2 cars. Then they were told, unfortunately, you can only run 1. I mean, when you think about it, Williams Esports have got 2 cars, GTWR 2 cars, Triton Racing
Also 2.
also 2 cars. So from that perspective, it's going to be really interesting to see how we get when we get to the next round of pit stops. Now, because this is an approximation of 88 laps of racing, and we're now getting close to, at the minute, waiting just for my timing to update. I mean, it's around about, we're getting close to that halfway point,
Yeah,
aren't
I mean, we have like 1 hour on the race by now, round about. Or we're already past the 1 hour mark of racing.
Yeah, I mean, on that...
And we're seeing car number 20 flying through the Curva Grande, car number 20. That is Der Esports in 7th place right now. Fastest lap with 1:47.848, only 0.2 slower than the leading car on their fastest lap. I mean, if we look at the current pace of the different teams, it's a 1:48.0 for Team Redline, a 1:48.1 for Williams Esports Racer, and it goes until the 1:48.6 for our 8th place car. We are still in the 1:48 up until Der Esports Junior into 13th place, and that's only 0.6 of a second separating the field within the first 13 cars. That's crazy.
It is crazy. What's even crazier is Lukas Müller is taking about the best part of just over 1/10.5 out of Dominik Hoffmann in the Veloce car in the number 28. And you can see more cars, back marker traffic having to be negotiated. Some drivers who are back markers are effectively battling for position. But as the old saying goes, Corby, when you have back markers, it spells inconvenience, it spells trouble. And I'm gonna do another line of song. There may be trouble ahead. Sorry, I was a little bit off.
Beautiful. I think we should get you singing more often, Alex.
No, no.
No, definitely.
Twice is enough, because we've still got an hour and a half of this race to go. We're on lap number 38 out of 88, predictively, judging on the amount of racing. But Kramer Racing Esports and Geeks Energy battling away over 22nd position. Sean Teller, the youngest driver at 13 years and 3 weeks of age, battling away with Mark Balzer, who's a bit more experienced in terms of life experience. But
yes.
I mean, what I love to see are these younger drivers coming through and giving the old guy. You know, the thing is, if I remember correctly, Niels Neuox is old enough to be Sean Terra's dad.
Yeah, that's crazy, like the age difference you have in the field.
It is quite interesting. We've now got a side-by-side into the Rettifilio. Again, it's Kramer Racing and Geeks Energy. And you know what? I'm going to have to try... You know what we're going to have to do? We're going to have to try and get some free merch after the GT500. I'm making a beeline for Geeks Energy. I say, hey, you got a double XL, mate?
It fits me so well. I mean, I could take it home.
You could probably use double XL as a blanket.
Oh, yes, definitely. We still have battles going on in the field. That's car 977. That's K. Kramer Racing Esports, just behind the rear of Geeks Energy, as we already told you before. It's 2 Porsche 911 GT3 are battling against each other.
Yeah, this really is Linus Cern action, GT3 action. It's very, very best here at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, the Temple of Speed, in circulation for a century. And the current variation of this circuit provides a thriller, and that's exactly what we've had so far. We've had incidents along the way here on the 2022 running of the ADAC digital GT500. Race control under investigation is incident number 9. That is car 5. That's Williams Esports Chill Blast and 512 WS Racing Esports. Not 100% sure what that is for. And you know what they're doing now, through the mid part of Curva Grande, or formerly as it was known, Curva Bisonno.
Yeah.
These two cars were they were cutting the grass on the inside curb. Literally, you can see the chunks of grass like coming out.
I still remember the one scene from Valtteri Bottas, I think it was on the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, when he went off the grass, and all he said on the radio when he was asked, is everything fine? But he was like, oh yes, I'm just cutting grass. I mean, this thing, it cuts grass way better than my lawnmower at home.
Yeah, exactly. Reinforced, structural, layered carbon fiber. But we still have plenty of this race still to go. We've just caught into shot the 966 of Team Fordzilla and the 269 of IES Racing Schweiz. Those two are battling away over position. Arnage Competition have made their way back up to 17th with Jimmy Antonez. There is a slow car. Oh, that's the 88. The 88 has gone off, and Deutsche Payment and Arnage Competition have got through, so I'm not too sure if there might have been a drama for that car, whether it was a touch. Has there been an issue? So it could be anything. The car might have ran out of fuel, a technical disconnect. No further action for incident number 9. And now we've got a side-by-side coming down the start-finish straight. Arnage Competition looking to get up the inside of Deutsche Payment, partnered with Nürburgring, and they get through rather easily.
And this is the classic I think we've seen so far in this race. Get close enough through the last corner, get a good draft up to the main straight, and then drive it into the first corner. Overtake cleanly ahead before. We've seen this so many times, and they also do it. They get up one place.
The battle for the lead is still on. Redline versus Williams Esports Razor is still going on. And there is the 977 of Kramer Racing through on the number 17 of Geeks Energy. And that is for 22nd position. They've made their way up the order ever so slightly. They were one of a handful of cars involved in that lap 1 incident earlier on today. We're getting on our way to completing lap number 40 out of 88. And still, these drivers, they're driving these cars like they're stolen, Corby. It's like gone in 60 seconds.
Yes, they're driving it on the edge, on the very limit. And we're still having 27 cars within one lap. We're over 1 hour deep into the race, and still there are 27 cars within one lap. What a field, what drivers. Like, the competition is so high.
And it was to be expected with these drivers here. So the cars now, IES Racing Schweiz still keeping ahead of Team Fordzilla, but they make a mistake coming out of the Retafilio chicane. They nearly dropped the ball and kept the big barn doors on the local farm wide open for Team Fordzilla. But Fordzilla have to wait, repurpose themselves, and get ready to form and start teeing up that attack on the IES Racing SimRacing Schweiz car. And
in the end, it is still, as you always said, an endurance race. And you have to play it cool. You can't lose your temper and just dive it in. You can't get angry because you can't pass. You need to play it calm. You need to find the right moment to take your chance, get in there, squeeze yourself through cleanly, and work from there. It's so important.
Working together is always important, especially when it's a team that you're in and it's a sister car. That's the big thing that you have to realise, folks, that you're not always going to have this opportunity. But here comes an opportunity. Here's come an opportunity. So what we will be doing is very shortly also going back live onto the ADAC SimRacing Expo live stream, along with the ADAC YouTube channel. But Team Redline gets a little bit of daylight at the end of the tunnel, courtesy of the strategy that is being employed by Williams Esports Razor. And now you see from side to side goes the Team Redline Porsche 911 as they now make their way down towards into the next Lesmo, the first of two Lesmos, into the first right-hander, now into the second. They've got a car in front, possibly, well, it did have four at the end. It might be the Reiter Engineering car, which it is. And now Redline pulls to the right-hand side of them. Williams Esports Razor will do the same very shortly, having pulled behind in the tow for as long as humanly possible. The tow around here, Corby, is
massive.
Mighty.
Yes, it is massive. And it is nice to see the lapped car getting out of the way, not interfering with the battle for the lead in the race at all. It's perfect manners by the driving field, and we still stick with a super close fight. I can't believe it's been 20-30 minutes now that it's Team Redline and Williams Esports Razor driving within like 5 meters of each other.
Not even that, Corby. You can see now the Williams Esports Razor car. Again, that is now so powerful, that slipstream. Will Bico pull to the right-hand side of Vecchio, going into the Rettifilio chicane? No. He'll wait and bide his time. Wants to see if Gianni Vecchio makes a mistake. And if that happens, then Alessandro Bico will be through into the race lead. But as they say, Corby, it ain't over till it's over.
Oh, yes, it is not over until the checkered flag, until the distance and the time has ticked down, and you can always gain that last position. We've seen it so often. We've seen Sebastian Vettel show it to us in Suzuka this year, going right across the finish line, right next to another legend with Fernando Alonso. And we could also see this here today in the ADAC Digital GT500, because this battle for first position, it has been incredibly close, and it is still close up until third position, because it's only 3 seconds that ASAP Triton Racing is behind.
Yep, so welcome back to coverage of the ADAC Digital GT500. Team Redline and Williams Esports Razor are within a 10th and a half after what has been 40 laps of racing, with a predicted 88 combined of this fantastic 5.148 kilometer circuit. ASAP Triton Racing 152 pulling off the most spectacular of moves down the start-finish straight, getting 2 for the price of 1. And we haven't seen that once, Corby. We've seen that twice.
Yes, and we've seen other spectacular battles throughout the entire field. We've seen overtakes everywhere. We've seen, we've seen a bit of disaster, for example,
yes,
with Cowana Gaming unfortunately leaving us, and UL getting spun around in the beginning. They have been going through the field, gaining up a few places again. It has been a truly spectacular drive in any fashion.
Yeah, and we're being pat. Hello to my good friend Daniel Yildiz, who's actually here for the Retro Classics Bavaria. So anyone in Hall 8 that hasn't gone to visit, you can go through into Hall number 7, which is to our left-hand side. Not to our right, that's Hall 9.
But Hall 9 is also not so bad. I mean, you have all the SimRacing stuff.
Not at all. You've got to give props to both, haven't you? Because we're really proud to be partnered with them. But this battle has really come alive. And what's more, it's not just one Williams Esports car in the top 5. It's 2, because the Williams Esports Chill Blast car is only 6.4 seconds off of the race lead. We've been going strong for the best part of over an hour and a bit.
Yes, and I have a feeling that Williams Esports here in second place, Esports Razor, is playing it cool. Like, they have some strategy in mind. I feel like they are actually faster than Team Redline right now. If they wanted, they could probably overtake, just by judging how close they can drive behind Team Redline.
Yeah. Well, you can actually see, for those watching at home, in the bottom left-hand corner, they're faces.
They're basically one car by now.
They are. It's like Porsche and Mercedes had a baby. What would it be called? I don't know. Answers in the chat, please.
That's not actually a really creative way. How would it be called? I would be interested.
Mer Porsche, or something like that. Or Porschedes.
Porschedes, I like Porschedes.
There we go. But we'll leave that talk alone now, because we've got 0.3 of a second separating the top two teams, Redline and Williams Esports Razor. Embroiled in battle, it's Weissach versus Affalterbach, two of the most recognizable GT3 marks in this category. But still, to see it at this point from a virtual standpoint, as they say on Get Closer Racing stand through one of my tours, we're going to see one of them a little bit later. We're going to see a couple of them later on, where they had a T-shirt which says, "Our cars are virtual, our racing is real."
Yes.
And that's exactly what we've got here at the SimRacing Expo.
Absolutely, and not only our racing is real, our passion and love for the sport as well.
Our banter, all our jokes all the way through. But now, again, Williams putting the pressure on Redline. It's about that ultimate game of chess. You put an unstoppable force against an immovable object, and no one's blinking yet. Change for third. Change for third. Now it is Williams Esports, Razor and Chill Blast, second and third.
But they're going into the pits. They're going to the pits.
Right.
First team to get the second pit stop in.
Could this be an undercut strategy?
Yes. I think Williams Esports has the advantage here that they have two cars so far up the front. This might be the one difference that pushes them ahead of Team Redline in the end.
Yeah, we've got another battle here. This is the senior team from Door Esports and the number 20 closing in on the 28 of Veloce. This is for 6th position as they make their way through the Variante Rettifilo. And still, the chess games continue up and down the order. Arnage Competition, who had that stop and hold penalty for 5 seconds, dropped them outside of the top 20 positions, now up the order and has got back up to around about P15. Beeler Racing are back into the top 20 and calmly moving up the order.
Also, Der Esports really doing a fantastic job, having one car here right behind Veloce in 7th place, and their second car, the Der Esports Junior, driving currently with number 21 in 13th place, only 33 seconds behind the leader. That's 20 seconds behind the car number 20, the main car of Der Esports, currently on your screen.
There's your top 8 covered by 25 seconds. So Redline, Williams Razor, Triton Racing 152 and 10, Veloce, Door Esports, Leo Racing, Gadachain, Ballas Esports and GTWR, the highest place of the handful of Lamborghinis. DV1 Triton Racing, Team Fordzilla round out the top 10, IES SimRacing Schweiz, Door Esports Junior, SimRacing Academy, Williams Esports Chill Blast, now having pitted for the second time, down from what would have been 3rd place to 14th. Beeler Racing now rounds out the top 15. Absolute Motorsport in the number 88 complete the top 16 teams, completing the top 20. Gridfinder Racing, as we had the number 269 of IES SimRacing Schweiz looking for a move on Team Fordzilla. Gadachain Ballas Esports, Kramer Racing Esports and Geeks Energy in the number 17 round out the top 20. Arnage Competition down to 21st. And then we have the first set of lap cars. Deutsche Payment, Unicorns of Love in 23rd, and Geeks Energy in 24th position.
But we also have a lot of the cars already in the pit currently. It's VS Racing Esports and Geeks Energy in 25th and 26th place. So when the first few cars are pitting, this might lead to some cars unlapping themselves. Currently, it is a bunch of around 20 cars within 1 lap, exactly 21 cars within 1 lap. And again, I've said it so often already, the field is so close, the level of driving skills is so high, anything can still happen in the remaining 1 hour and 14 minutes.
Anything can happen in motorsport, and you know what, Corby? It most certainly does.
Oh, yes.
Because we've had that in this race. Dennis Wieker and Bastian Richter battling away for 22nd and 23rd positions. So Deutsche Payment Nürburgring versus Unicorns of Love. They've got the number 10 of ASAP Triton Racing in 4th position, closing in. So the car in front, the car behind will be looking to get through on back marker traffic. And you can just see the amount of steering wheel lock they're having to put on as the number 10 goes into the pits for what will be its second pit stop. They're averaging around about 22 laps a stint. So give or take, that will be around about 3 pit stops.
Yes.
So, you know, so you have one at the halfway point. We are past the halfway point.
Oh, and there's someone going straight through the first chicane.
And that is Gridfinder. Gridfinder Racing, and the number 8 has gone straight on. They've done, well, at least they haven't done a Marcus Ericsson through that. They did a Nico Hülkenberg. But we're riding on board with Lukas Müller for Door Esports in the number 20 car. Now the speed builds. 250 kph going into De La Roggia. Down to second gear, bumping over the curbs. Goes the number 28 of Veloce. And a big thank you to all the respective partners, BRS, SX, JBL, Got to Be, Track Racer, SimMotion, Tailored Rig, Recaro, and Garmin. But great onboard shot, and that flat 6 boxer turbocharged engine. And the
great
rear
sound
end
as well.
Oh, it's a mega sound. It sounds even more brutal than the 964 Carrera Cup that we heard on Thursday night.
Oh, yes.
Friday night.
Beautiful cars. And beautiful to see those onboard shots, to see how it really feels in the car when you're throwing it above the curbs, above the sausage curbs. The car is lifting, flying into the air with one side. Spectacular images here in Monza, once again.
Yep, so the battle continues onwards, and the gap now between Team Redline and Williams Esports Razor now has extended. It's extending further still because Williams Esports Razor and the number 152 ASAP Triton Racing cars are now in pit lane. And now the flurry of pit stops occur because Veloce and Dot Esports in the number 20 have now gone into pit lane. We're going to see that shift again here, Corby, of those pit stops.
Yes. And interestingly, I think we have Williams Esports Razor already in the pit and Team Redline still driving on the track. And this will be a fight when they leave the track, when Team Redline will finally pit. Will the undercut be possible?
That depends on whether Team
depends.
Redline, on their first pit stop, brimmed the tank.
Yes.
Because Williams Esports Razor were in the pits for a shorter time. Let's not forget, about 3 seconds. Quicker pit stop, so they might have negated having a full tank of fuel to then go, well, we want to be with them when we exit the pit lane. And that was the strategy, and that's exactly what happened. So,
I mean, that might also be the reason why they have been driving so close and not overtaking, to just get that lift and coast in at the end of the straight and save some of the fuel.
Indeed, indeed. There is still plenty of racing action still to go here on the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500. Team Redline got pole position in time qualifying. And also, so far, the fastest lap of this race. And it just goes to show that the amount of... Redline are in. Redline are in the pit lane. So now...
It gets intense. We see Williams there right on the right side.
Don't be a killjoy.
So we're getting photographed here right now by a beautiful social media team.
Yeah, thank you, Louise and Steffi, who've been doing the rounds here at the Expo. But now, we now see Redline. Oh, look at that, the 11s burning rubber in the pit lane for the number 71. Lighting up the tyres and stoking the fires. An hour and 10 minutes still to go in this race.
And this might be Team Redline getting a shorter pit stop here in... Oh, what is happening with Team Redline? They're super slow in the straight.
Oh no, Redline returns to garage. Redline down back into the pit lane.
What happened?
Oh my goodness. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but what that means is the Williams Esports 1-2 Razor and Chill Blast disaster for Redline. Now, was that a possible disconnect?
I don't know.
That car stopped, and that could have signaled a disconnect. If that internet connection had gone, they've had no other alternative but to hit escape and return to garage. My goodness, disaster
and that's
for Team
straight
Redline.
after the pit stop. I mean, I was looking so much forward to the fight, and now, I mean, Williams Esports, they will be happy. They are now in the lead, and they are in a comfortable lead. 7 seconds ahead of their sister car, Williams Esports Chill Blast, number 5, and then 20 seconds ahead of the third-placed car, that's Der Esports.
I don't think Williams will be happy about the fact that has occurred. They want to fight them on the track. Any race team, you ask them, where do you want to win the battle? I don't want to
win on the track.
I don't want to disconnect. True. I don't want someone inadvertently, accidentally taking them out. We want to fight them on the circuit.
And we want to win on the circuit.
Exactly.
Show that we are the better team.
That just goes to show how cruel sim racing can be. A disconnect is like a terminal engine failure. It's like pulling the plug and something goes wrong. And that just shows how committed these drivers are to events like this. Blue Riband, prestigious events, a bit like in real-life racing, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Everyone wants to win it on track, not have a technical issue of any kind. And my heart goes out to Redline right now.
Yes.
It really does.
It must be so frustrating. I mean, this is the pinnacle. This is what they were all looking forward to here at the SimRacing Expo, the ADAC GT500.
But we have to move on from that, folks, because there is still a race to be run over the next hour or so. And now we look at the battle for P8. Leo Racing, Gatterchain, Ballas Esports. 0.6 of a second ahead of the junior team from Dort Esports, the number 21. DV1 Triton Racing looking to stick their nose out behind the 143 of SimRacing Academy. Rounding out the top 12, it's the number 15 Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo of GTWR Esports. And look at the concentration here, Corby, through the bottom left-hand corner of the main screen in front of our commentary position. You can just see that they are absolutely calm as can be.
Yes.
No emotion. It's full-on poker face, sim racing style. And Dort Esports Junior looks to be closing in, but into the Rettifilio chicane once again. We'll keep our eyes on this for just a few moments, because very soon we will be handing back in a little while to the stage here at the ADAC SimRacing Expo. There's plenty more things to come to round off what's been a fantastic 3.5 days so far.
Oh, definitely. One race better than the other.
Exactly, and this one has provided its dramas along the way. And you can now see that the Lamborghini Huracan of GTWR Esports, they also run the R8G Academy. R8G is the associated sim racing team with regards to Romain Grosjean. Now these days running with Andretti Autosport in IndyCar. And of course there was the recent news that a Veloce alumni, Jamie Chadwick, 3-time W Series champion,
dominating the W Series,
now moving to Indy NXT for 2023. And that's fantastic news for her, sister of Ollie Chadwick, and also Jamie, a Williams development driver. The amount of tie-ins for both sim and real-life racing are absolutely ridiculous, and Jamie even competed in Extreme E.
Yes, I mean, we've already seen so many racing drivers already here as well at the Expo. We've seen Bruno Sprenger, we've seen Moritz Lerner. We have, I think today there's Johannes Stuck here. So we have so many fantastic names everyone knows from the racing scene.
Yep, Johannes, son of Hans-Joachim, a.k.a. Stritzel
Stuck.
Yep. The man who famously used... Now, a little bit of history. We're talking about sports car racing. BMW, under the leadership of one Jochen Nerpasch, went over during the fuel crisis era in the 1970s with the Batmobile, the 3-litre CSL, to the United States. And the US thought BMW stood for British Motor Works.
Oh,
well, what did...
no.
Here's where the story gets even better. Stritzel, whenever they hit the top step of the podium, would yodel. And they say, why do you yodel? Because BMW stands for Bavarian Motorworks.
Yes.
And we are, of course,
In Bavaria.
So that just goes to show how much of German motorsport culture is loved by everybody.
Oh, yes, most definitely. And you know what, Alex? I am going to head off to a quick break, and I'll give the microphone over to, you know him already from...
Let's welcome back Paul Glover into the commentary box. Thank you very much, Corby. Myself and Corby are going to take a little bit of a breather, so Corby will get a little bit of a respite. But with an hour and 4 minutes to go, welcome back into the commentary box, Mr. Paul Glover. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Revved up, ready to go. Well, I have been since about 7 o'clock this morning when I woke up, but, mate, from ACC, you now get a bit of iRacing commentary under your belt as well.
I mean, do. Yeah.
What have you thought so far of the race?
I actually watched the start. It's intense, isn't it? And Monza's, as we know, is, I'm sure, you know, the circuit, one of the fastest around the world. You know, high speeds into the famous chicane here as we're watching the view. It's been great, and so I've been watching. I can see there's Porsches, Mercedes.
Yeah, we've got 4 cars, and they're all being used. BMW M4, which just so happens to be...
I hadn't spotted any BMWs on the stream,
we
but when
have
I was
got
watching
one.
anyway. Okay.
Thanks to our good friends at Gridfinder.
Ah, yes.
So they're currently running in 18th position, which is exactly where they finished the professional trophy final round yesterday. How's about that for karma? But no, I mean, Team Redline, that was... you know, they were leading. Light up the rear tyres coming out of the pit lane, then the car stops on the pit lane exit, and that is, unfortunately, I think
I couldn't tell if that, I mean, was that a disconnect? Because
that's what it looked like to me, because the car just literally stopped.
I didn't know if maybe they realised they left the pits, the car had refueled or something like that, and they had to go back. But
I think the other thing was, if it wasn't a disconnect, possibly a hardware or software failure.
Yeah.
And that's one of the 3 big things that can cause an issue. But with, you know, just over an hour of this race to go, I mean, Monza, you can't get a better circuit for flat-out, full-throttle GT3 racing.
No, indeed. It's all, you know, I mean, I know we were talking about yesterday about the slipstream, but around here, it's such a greater influence on being able to make, especially to the parabolica, and coming out of the parabolica.
You see, you're doing exactly the same as Corby. It was called parabolica. It was actually quite recently, in the last couple of years, named after Michele Alboreto.
Oh, right, okay. Well, it's still always going to be the parabolica
hey,
to
you
me.
know what? You do your thing, I'll do mine. But no, I mean, to see, side-by-side action like this, Veloce versus what will be ASAP Triton Racing number 10, and Veloce with Dominic Hoffman getting through.
Good to see the Veloce team, you know, going strong like they were yesterday in the Honda, in the Pro Trophy.
Yeah, definitely. But it really is good to see that, I mean, balance of performance. We didn't have that in the professional trophy. We've got it here. And that just sort of like equalises everything. Just tries to put, you know...
Keep the bunch all nicely bunched together, you know.
Strangling the horses on the 6.2 litre V8 Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo.
Well, yeah, we all know how quick that is in a straight line, right?
It's like a rocket ship.
Exactly that. And yeah, I've been watching. There's been some absolutely wonderful battles, and I wouldn't expect anything less, to be honest. You know, a lot of the teams I recognise from yesterday as well, and it's good to see Brabham taking part in this again. I must admit, I do love the green of the Brabham. I think it kind of harks back to the old days, doesn't it?
It's the JPS livery without the JPS livery, if you know what I'm saying. But bringing a little bit of British racing green.
Oh, who loves it? I mean, being a Brit, of course, I love the British racing green. I think it's kind of, if you're a motorsport fan, you know of the British racing green, don't you? So, yeah, lovely view here on the rear wing of the WS Racing Esports Mercedes.
Indeed, with Brabham very much in their rear view mirrors right now.
Just, seeing the delta in between the 2 cars in the middle there. I love the fact here we get to see the gears and the revs and the current speed. So let's see how fast that Brabham Esports car will be following in the wake of the Mercedes in front. Let's see if they can get a little bit up more speed, but obviously everybody's going to be carrying a little bit of different wing here and there. wasn't able to get very close, but under braking, definitely a little bit more confident there.
Yeah, that's very much the case. I mean, it's always been the way with these kind of cars. They do tend to provide some great, I mean, you know, when you think about it, the Porsche itself,
Yeah.
565 horsepower, 3.6, well, depending on which generation you go to, the current generation, if I remember correctly, is a 4 litre flat six turbocharged engine. Mercedes can't love a bit of an AMG V8. You know, before Mercedes went down the more, you know, low capacity CC displacement.
Yeah.
You know, 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8. And I still remember being called out on a sim racing commentary saying, no, it's a 4 litre twin turbo V8 like the road car. No, it's never been like that on both generations. The original GT3 and then
the 21 car getting a little bit, the Door Esports car, they get a little bit loose as it came out of the corner and hit a little bit of gravel. And I don't know, it doesn't seem to have affected them. I thought they would have probably slowed down, but I think they kept their foot in. So carried enough speed there, but got a Mercedes pulling nicely out the way of their, nicely done by the back marker there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question because you've been Hall 9 at the Logitech G stand.
Yeah.
What's the noise been like with all the speaker systems rumbling? I mean,
I was saying to somebody earlier on, I was like, normally I'm a big music and podcast fan, and I've been enjoying the peace and quiet. Apparently yesterday, they, you know, the LMP3 car that's on one of the stands got started up a couple of times, just they scared the living lights out of people apparently when it was started up. But yeah, it's like everyone's competing in there, and my throat's a little bit sore today because all I'm been doing is talking and trying to shout over the noise and everything that's going on. But it's not as busy as yesterday, but it's definitely picking up in there. There is a buzz around the place, which is really good to see. Yeah, I'm tired, but I've loved this weekend. I've enjoyed it. I might not show it sometimes.
Well, you might not be feeling it at the moment.
Yeah, I might not be feeling it, but I think we got a big game tonight to watch after today as well. So.
Right. Sorry to cut across you there, Paul. The 86 of DV1 Triton Racing to their immediate left-hand side. Look at the camera angle there. They've got the 143 of SimRacing Academy that have just launched it up the inside through into the Variante della Roggia. We're now under an hour to go, 57 minutes and 23 seconds. And it is a Williams Esports 1-2. The gap between the top two teams are 7 seconds and change. And this is where it gets very, very interesting indeed. But out of these 4 cars, Paul, what is your favourite?
Oh, I'd have to go with the Porsche all day long. All day long. I do love it. I love the way, it's the way that it sounds for me, and I love the style. As I said yesterday, I think I just struggle with the lack of talent driving it. And it's not that I dislike it, it's just that I don't have the talent that these guys have got. What about you? What's your favourite?
Well, I
feel like I went for the obvious choice there.
I like all of them. I like all of them. But folks, we're going to hand over back to Matsi. Matsi, over to you on the main stage, buddy. So now we're back on the ADAC live stream. Thank you very much for joining us. You see the current standings on your screen. Bila Racing and Arnage Competition have been hurtling their way through back up the order. Arnage Competition, the only team so far in this year's ADAC Digital GT500 that has copped a stop and hold penalty for 5 seconds. And when you have that, Paul, you have that kind of incident. You have an incident, you cop a penalty. It's not just the 5 seconds, it's also the time it takes you to get to the pit
stop.
And then exit out of the pit stop as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it all adds up, right? I mean, you know, it's the same when you have a drive-through. You got to make the entry into the pit lane, and when you leave, it takes time, and that's quite a harsh penalty, really. But you know, that's what stewarding's here for, right? As we found yesterday and today. But with regards to penalties, so has that been the only one for this race?
We've had a few warnings, but we had a few no further actions. But I've just got some insider knowledge for the team.
Yes.
The Cowana team seems like it was more than just an issue. It was a run out of fuel issue and several other errors
Ah,
And
so I
it
might have
ju-
been
it-
right then with
and-
with the pit stop going wrong potentially. It just looked a bit strange. If it was a disconnect, I would have expected the car to disappear potentially.
Right, for the first time this weekend,
Wow.
we can actually hear
each other.
ourselves. There we go.
Oh my God, that makes such a difference.
I know, because we've had one can off our heads for the rest of the weekend. But a big thank you to Mateusz and his team who have been doing this fantastic broadcast here. So
yeah, and that really makes a difference to be able to actually hear you, because sometimes I'm like, what is he saying?
what?
Yeah.
What are you talking about,
And
man?
I'm sure, yeah, and I felt there was a couple of times yesterday where we think we were talking over each other because we couldn't hear the other one was actually talking. So
I'm like having to go like this to hear what Corby's saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, what we're gonna, hopefully we're gonna get Corby back to jump in. I know you're gonna jump onto my side.
Yeah,
of the
that's right.
box.
Yeah, give you a bit of a break, and then you guys can obviously do.
Well,
I got to get back to the stand. I've got other duties that I got to undertake. But
well, you know what, Paul, I'll give you credit. To jump in. I mean, like me and Steve and Dan from SGP had a little chat, and you were like saying, I don't mind doing a bit more, because also it gives you more. From a commentator's perspective, having got a lot of skin in the game, not just in sim racing but in real life.
Yeah.
This is your first real proper.
Yeah, like
thingy
on-site
experience.
stuff. I mean, I've done a lot of remote commentary, and my first kind of foray into doing this kind of stuff is I helped out doing replays for an SRO series.
Yes.
So I've done bits and pieces. I do a lot of commentary for Dan. And I'm doing some commentary in the new year for him. But I do the whole thing. I do the broadcast and the commentary at the same time. So I'm like, that takes me a little while getting into the flow. But actually, I enjoy both elements of it. I enjoy doing the broadcast. I enjoy talking about it as well. So I like being in control, basically, Alex, is what I'm saying.
You're an OCD freak. That's what you are.
Yes, exactly that.
No
exactly
problem
that.
at all. You're welcome. Okay.
Yeah.
Viel Glück für. Viel Glück,
yeah.
no?
So I think it's time for you to be relieved.
Expedited.
Expedited.
Right, Corby, you get on your side.
Yeah, you get on this side.
Right, we're now going to do a relay, like the baton, so go. Right, guys, I'll be back in about 15 minutes, so over to Corby, over to Paul for the next 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Alex. Thank you for... Also to you, Paul. I mean, it's a pleasure to stand here right next to you and finally get to commentate together with you.
We met for the first time yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
So no, I'm not. I feel like I'm best friends with everybody here. So.
But isn't that
have
everyone?
you noticed you can actually hear me as well in the headphones this time?
Yes, that's so good.
So yesterday we were just saying before you came back, like we had to have one ear off because we weren't getting. So the production team have done a fantastic job.
Yes, shout outs to.
It's been relatively quiet since you went. I mean, we've had a bit of activity, but generally there's nothing major has happened. There's not been any more disconnect. Looks like it was some kind of fueling issue for Red Lion.
Yes, I've heard that as well, that they somewhat ran out of fuel,
but they just pitted,
it.
so I'm guessing they made an error maybe in the pits.
Yeah.
It does happen, I've done it. I mean, in ACC predominantly, but I've pitted before, put the wrong tyres on, it's wet, and I've come out on slicks.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, especially if you have to switch the driver on the rig, physically switch the driver as well, it might get very hectic.
There's a lot going on, right? And that's where practice comes in, and I learn, thing is, as frustrating as the mistakes are, you learn from, as long as you learn from them and you adapt. And that's a bit like, I'll be working on the Logitech stand this weekend here, and Thursday, we learned a lot about what we thought was going to happen and how it's going to work, but it didn't work quite like that. So we had to adapt, and we adapted again on Friday. We adapted again on Saturday. And guess what? We've adapted again today. We've learned every single day. And as long as you take that learning...
Exactly. I mean, that's the most important thing, so that you can improve and work with your mistakes in the future and not do them again.
Yeah, and that's why people, configure the buttons in certain ways and have certain options on their rigs, depending what game they're playing, right? And I think that's really, really
I mean, I don't know, you have probably more experience than me. If you reprogram your buttons in some sense, that must be the most confusing thing ever for a sim racer.
Label things up, like have labels. But also, that's the other thing as well. If you're switching between different games, I try and have the same layout per game as much as possible. There are instances where you might play like an F1 game and you've got DRS, or no other game has DRS, so there'll be the odd button that doesn't really go across all games.
Yes.
But I try really hard to have the setup
as similar as possible.
Yeah, but also I have a Stream Deck, and I use that as a button box as well.
That's also quite smart. I mean,
Yeah.
you have 20 buttons, or like
Yeah, I
depending
have the
on
medium
how big
and
the
the
one
XL,
is.
but I was saying with Alex, I do broadcasting as well, so I have a Stream Deck for that, and it's all nicely working in with OBS. And
Yeah. You can
fantastic.
never have enough buttons for.
Oh no! I
SimRacing
want
League.
more buttons. I want more. always
We all
want
have
more.
buttons.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Dan Terry, who was doing the stewarding yesterday, he uses the Stream Deck to do the commands into ACC to apply penalties and things like that. So people do great and wonderful things across, all platforms. Yeah, I can see 10 Redline are back in 30th position. So they've
went back on the track.
It looks like it. Yeah, they're showing on the leaderboard there. Are they back on? I don't know if
get
it's
into live timing.
Are
Doesn't show
they
though.
out? Right. Okay. They might be out. So it might just be on the standings. It doesn't say that they're out. But yeah, it's great to see similar names as well, like team names. And when I was walking the paddock yesterday, you can see that you got members of the team practicing for one competition, and then if they've got another rig, yeah, they're practicing for today's GT500. But I got asked a question. I don't know if you've been asked this, but what's your favourite car taking part? Like Porsche, Lamborghini, Mercedes, what would you go for?
In this I always had a sweet spot for the Audi, but it's not possible in today's race.
I raced that in ACC.
Yes, exactly. The Audi R8. One of my favorite cars ever.
We're already bonded here. This is great.
But here I would say probably the Mercedes.
Right. Okay. I went Porsche. I think it's the predictable
or the BMW.
Yeah, I can't. I haven't. I'm not. I haven't done a lot of iRacing, so I can't. But the BMW, while I have tried it, a lot of it I think is lack of skill on my part.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Same for me.
So, I try to go find a car that's pretty settled. I'm not going to set the world alight. And the Porsche isn't that car, I don't think, for me. But I love this. If I'm not driving, that's the car I like to hear.
Oh, yes. And I mean, it has such a spectacular look as well.
Yeah, it does.
If you see a Porsche, you know it's a Porsche.
Yes.
That is the very specific, special thing about Porsches, I think.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And what I love about this race is, I know you've got 47 minutes to go, and it's a just under 3-hour race here.
Yes.
But they're still closely packed together, aren't they? There's some great battles.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we still have the two Williams esports cars in the front, but we have by now 18 cars still within one lap of the race. And I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself throughout the broadcast, but it really goes to show how hard the competition here is.
Yeah, I think we're about to see the Lambo here is it going to come out of the slipstream and make a move? No, it sits kind of. It's the famous chicane there. I mean,
oh yes.
We see many catastrophic sim races at that point. Everyone, race control, like, take it easy, lap 1, first corner.
Yeah.
And do they listen?
No, there's always a big mess. I mean, they've managed really well. We've had.
Yeah, I saw the start. I watched the start on my tablet while I was at the Logitech stand, so it was a bit quiet this was. I thought I'd just have a look and see what it was like. And I was. Apart from a couple of contacts at the back, I felt that the start was pretty clean. So, and that's what you want, right? You don't want to ruin your race straight away.
Yes, exactly. I mean, in the end, it's an endurance race. It goes over more than 2 hours, more than 2.5 hours, and it's just not smart to full send it into the first corner.
I mean, even you could argue even more so if you have that contact in a sprint race, you've got less time to make your way back, right?
Exactly.
If you have a technical issue, so we've got a couple of cars here coming down the start-finish straight. I'm seeing the slipstreams not having the effect that I would expect. Is that normal here?
I'm not sure. I mean, we've seen some overtakes on the start-finish straight, but it feels like they already had to be quite close and got a really good exit out of the last corner.
Which you call the parabolica, like I do, right? Yes, it'll always be the parabolica.
It has been the parabolica. It will stay the parabolica in my heart, even though they renamed it.
Yeah, Alex knows everything about everything, so he's always kind of like, no, 2 years ago it was
renamed Alboretica. It is the parabolica.
Yeah, it is the parabolica, and it'll always be the parabolica. It's a bit like when football teams in the UK get sponsorship, like in the Premier League, and they brand the stadium like a sponsor. It's like, no, it will never be that.
No.
It'll always be St James's Park or whatever. So
It has historically been, Enfield Road in Liverpool, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. But the gap at the front between the two Williams esports teams is kind of remaining rather consistent, around 7 seconds.
Yes.
And obviously I can see they're both in the Mercedes AMG GT3.
Currently on the screen we have a 6th-place car, ASAP Triton Racing with the number 10. And ahead of them, Veloce with 28 being separated by less than a second. So that's still one battle and one place to figure out.
Tried to obviously finish 3rd yesterday in the Pro Trophy. Had quite an eventful race towards the end. I think maybe a bit of frustration coming in play, and I've been there myself. It's very hard not to, it's actually very easy to get frustrated. I find it hard to not get frustrated. And then your focus comes away from the racing, and that's where more mistakes start to happen. So I'm now learning to kind of like, just breathe.
Stay calm, stay
and
cool.
You've got your teammate in your ear saying, stay calm, I'm swearing, or whatever it is over Discord, you know.
I feel like that's always not helping. If you're really emotional, and someone's like, stop being emotional. I'm I am trying, please don't tell me that. I don't need that input right now.
Behind us at the moment, obviously, you got Jardier, who's on the stage as we're commentating this, so he's on the mainstream, and I'd like to be more like him. Like, how does he stay so goddamn cool?
But I think that makes the big difference between us, because we're just having fun, and the guys back there in the paddock who are driving right now in the server.
Indeed. Lovely little move there. I think that was a back marker getting out of the way, I'm imagining.
Yeah, that was the 21 car by Der Esports Junior, now up until the 11th place, and the Lamborghini of GTWR Esports 15, number 15 car, right behind its rear.
Very anti and looking. I love and hate Monza. That's a funny thing to say, I think.
Yeah.
Because I love watching races on it. I don't like driving on it. I struggle. It kind of shows my weaknesses of my lack of talent. Get me round Brands Hatch, and I'm relatively competitive. Silverstone's another one that I don't get on with, but I love it as a track. It just highlights how bad I am.
You know, when I first started sim racing, I asked a friend of mine, like, which track should I start with? And he was like, Monza.
Everybody starts with Monza.
Yes, exactly, because it's like, it is a lot of fun. It really shows your skill. You get to learn everything. So I kind of have a sweet spot in Monza, for Monza as well. And I mean, the history is of the racetrack.
Second to none. I mean, it's Monza, for crying out loud. You know, like it's the home of Ferrari.
Yes.
You know, and passionate Italian fans. And I have actually been to Monza, so I've had the pleasure of going. A great weekend, and Milan is a lovely city.
Oh yes, most definitely.
And not far from there, you've got Lake Como, so we jumped on a train to, do a bit of touristy stuff, and ticking all the stereotype boxes here. The pizza and the ice cream were amazing.
Yes, I can only imagine.
The gelatos, I mean, fantastic weekend. So,
but I mean, to just add on that, there has been a Formula One race called the Italian Grand Prix in Monza every year since 1949.
Wow.
With one exception, that's 1980. But any other year, there was the Italian Grand Prix at this racetrack in so many different variations. I mean, we've had the oval, big oval they've tried to drive.
Yeah, they've still got bits of that track in place, haven't they? The old baked curves.
Incredibly steep, nothing compared to the ovals you see right now in NASCAR or the other American racing series. It is twice as steep.
Yeah, I don't think you'd get those now. I mean, health and safety would have a word, wouldn't they?
And there wasn't even a barrier on top. If you went too high, you would just fly off.
Oh, yeah. And fortunately, we've got our more sensible heads on these days, and crash safety and everything else has greatly improved. Barrier technology, car technology.
Yes.
Which is great to see.
You know, there's a somewhat interesting story. In 1972, when they've added the first chicane on the main straight. Before it was just going straight, then they added the chicane. They drove the track, or they added it for the Formula 1 races because it was too fast, it was too dangerous. But then, yet, they still continued to drive the motorcycle races without the chicane, which led to a fortunate, high amount of deaths in the next year, and then there were no motorbike races up until 1981 anymore at Monza. But I mean, that goes to show how much the sense for safety in racing generally has improved over the past decades.
Yeah, and sim racing has benefited from that because we get all these amazing layouts, and when certain games, they have historic tracks, so you can relive that history.
I mean, this is the only place where you can go to those old tracks now.
And also relive the old cars as well. So it's not just the tracks, but it's also the cars.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Alex is back, so he's taking a break. There's 39 minutes of the race to left. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for
with yourselves.
being here.
You're welcome. And I'll hand you back to Alex to see through the final stages of the race.
All right, 39 minutes on the clock. Alex back on the caster desk, and we are driving along with the car number 966 or 143 there up in front, and that's the SimRacing Academy car in 7th place. And with that, welcome back, Alex.
Thank you very much. Just had a quick chat with Max Benecke. The fuel ticked down to 0 as they entered the pit lane, and they didn't clock it, and it was an RTG return to garage. Now, bearing in mind, Alessandro Bico was in the Mahler Racing team car that placed 3rd at last year's ADAC Digital GT500, and my further research confirmed what I suspected, that Daniel Pastor and Louis Naza were both with Urano Esports last year, the winning team. So they could have been, I mean, the thing is, there's still 7.1 seconds between them. We've got 37 minutes and 54 seconds on the clock to go.
Still enough time, probably potentially another pit stop. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, the stint for, well, it was 18 laps for Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sirica last time out in the number 55 Williams Esports Razor car. So they did slightly short fuel to get the upper hand, but Chill Blast might have a little ace up their sleeve because they ran for 21 laps on their previous pit stop. And the thing is that looking back at how things started, the 55 qualified in 6th position. The number 5 qualified in 5th. So who would have thought it? The
who would have thought that those two would be now 1 and 2?
Yeah, and it's the one that was in 6th that is leading the way, as Williams Esports Chill Blast are now in for what will be more than likely their final pit stop. The rush towards the checkered flag. We've got side by side. That's WS Racing versus Geeks Energy in the 35
Oh, there's a
car.
contact!
And through into Alboreto they go.
And
There's a secondary incident between the pair. They rejoin. The cars behind them will be closing at a significant amount of speed, probably over 200 kilometers an hour. And Geeks Energy bails into the pit lane with 36.5 minutes still to go. It really has come down to the battle between several teams. Now, we're going to see a flurry, an absolute deluge of pit lane activity within the next few moments of this race. And now Williams Esports Racer in the number 55 looking to go for the W here at the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500. 2,000 euros out of the combined 10,000 euro prize pool.
And not only that, you have this prestigious name of the trophy of the race. I think it's more about honor for the drivers. It's more about winning it here on LAN at the ADAC SimRacing Expo than actually about the money.
It is. It is about, it's a prestigious title on that front. And what we have is a crescendo building. Here's the replay powered by Heusinkveld. There's the first impact going into Alboreto, and then there's the second one. I'm not too sure what I make of that one. It was a bit of one, it's tit for tat there, I'm afraid, but look at the rate of knots. As you can see, Geeks Energy pulling into the pit lane and nearly gets hit from behind. Nearly gets hit from behind by one of the Mercedes closing it. Oh my goodness me, there are more dramas than you can shake a stick at. There's the 86 car.
That's the DV1 Triton Racing, currently in 7th place. We have another car, another Porsche, entering the pit lane.
No, that's a Mercedes.
Oh, Mercedes.
That was
I'm
WS
sorry.
Racing, the 512. But look at Team Fordzilla closing in on DV1 Triton Racing. This looks to be a battle for position. And this is where it's going to get rather... It's fingernail biting time.
Yes.
And Josh Poulain in the 966. Fordzilla have done a fantastic job so far. Starting P13, gap less than 2.5 tenths of a second in the battle for P7. So Williams Esports Razor on their last stint did 20 laps. They were in the box for 29.1 seconds. And these two here, 7th and 8th, bumping over the curves through the Variante della Roggia. Now we move back to 2nd and 3rd place. More pit stops happening. Gridfinder in the pit lane. Beeler Racing, who were up into the top 10. Williams Esports Chill Blast have now rejoined. They were in the pits for 41.5 seconds. That says to me...
That is a long time.
That says to me that new tyres and a full, nearly a full tank of fuel might have gone on board that Mercedes-AMG GT3 Evo. Think of it this way, Corby. Yesterday, Williams Esports triumphed by taking not only their 2nd professional trophy win as in many races, but also with it taking the 2022 ADA SimRacing Expo professional trophy by SimRacing GP title.
And now they're here again in the lead, looking at least somewhat comfortable to drive this home if not any big unexpected things happen. But we're here in racing. Anything can happen up until the checkered flag is shown.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Koen Klopman from Arnage Competition battling away with Tobias Schmidt for ADAC SimRacing Schweiz in the 269. Porsche against Porsche once again. We've seen some very, very distinctive battles, and it was only Arnage Competition would have been one of the favourites had it not been for that stop and hold 5-second penalty in the first half an hour of the race. That just goes to show one thing can turn your race around and turn the apple cart upside down, and that's exactly what's happened. And then we look behind. There's a cut. There's a three-way scrap. There's a further 3 Porsches in the distance. And they are jockeying for position, one trying to break the toe of the car behind. Going into Curva Alboreto at turn number 11. This 5.148 kilometre circuit for this year's edition of the ADAC Digital GT500. Right, under investigation, no surprise, 35 and 512. Geeks Energy and WS Racing Esports. Incident number 10, under investigation by Race Control as we hit the 31.5-minute mark, still to go.
Very interested on what Race Control is going to decide and have on that one. We'll figure that out in a few minutes. So far, their decisions have been quick and correct.
Yes, they have. And we have to credit the team from the ADAC.
Oh, most definitely.
We also have to thank the assistance of Ricardo, who's provided us with relevant information. Mateusz Nogat versus Michael Hechel for Door Esports, battling for 2nd position, 152 against the number 20. But I'm trying to see which car is behind. That looks to be possibly just seeing, might have been
a lapped car.
Might have been, well, might have been.
That's the 66, right?
It might have been the 88. Might have been the 88 that currently sits, who is a lap down in 15th position. The 69 car not having a great run either. I mean, Team Redline retiring on lap 49 after I spoke with Max Benecke, actually person to person, which was a nice change. They have, I'll be honest with you, Team Red Line, I'm not at all surprised. They're disappointed with what's happened.
Yeah.
They have started packing up, which is completely 100% understandable. And I said, look, I'm really pleased that we've had you here. Commiserations.
Yeah, I mean,
if you can tell people that, they respect it.
yes, most definitely. And I mean, it happened. You cannot change it anymore. So you have to work with it and learn your lessons.
Yep, as now 152 and 20 into the pits. Now the flurry starts. 88 in the pit lane.
Now it's going to be interesting on who comes out first between ASAP Triton Racing, Der Esports and Veloce.
Yes, that it will be.
Pit lane entered, stop started for Der Esports. We've also seen William Esports Razor, the first placed car in the box, 26.5 seconds, 48.1 in the pit lane.
That was for the previous stint. So we now see cars stationary, engines switched off. Now, oh right, oh that's a brilliant jump by the ASAP Triton Racing 152 to still stay ahead. They were in the box respectively, 9.3 seconds for Der Esports and 8.5 for ASAP Triton Racing in the 152. So 0.8 of a second deciding who was going to be out of the pit lane first. 23.9 seconds was the total time in pit lane for Der Esports. ASAP Triton Racing, 24.5 seconds. Oh, 5-second time penalty. Number 35 is the second one handed out during the race at this late stage.
That's the Geeks Energy car, currently in 26th place.
Right, that is not really going to compromise their race. That's going to, no, that's the 17 I was looking at. It's the 35 we've got to be more careful of. Well, that's not really, that's going to keep them in 25th position, 26th position, my apologies there. But now, all top four in the pit lane. Forzilla yet to pit. Der Esports Junior yet to pit. And that is going to put Williams Esports Chill Blast into the Hunters pack.
Oh yes, it is going to be intense for the remaining 27 minutes and 38 seconds of the race. We see Der Esports chasing down ASAP Triton Racing in the name of Michael Reche down into the previously Parabolica, now Alboreto Corva.
Thank you very much for that nice little correction to yourself there, my friend. Well done.
I mean, it will stay the Parabolica in my heart, but technically it is the Alboreto corner.
Yes, so more pit stops happening as we head into the final 27 minutes of the race here at the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500. Now we wait to see what will happen in pit lane as to who will be leading the race as the race to the checkered flag continues here in earnest here at Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, the home territory of the two teams, one of the teams in terms of the drivers at the sharper end of the grid. And that just goes to show your luck is what you make of it.
Oh yes.
Lady Luck can be on your side.
But you also have to take that opportunity and seize it.
Yeah. Last year, it was Urano Esports, and it was Louis Naza and Daniel Pashto. They've been reunited for this event because they won it last year. They're currently running in second position. BS Competition Red and Mahler Racing Team rounded out the top three last year when we were at the Nürburgring in mid-September. But now, here in early December, we're getting towards the last foray, the last salvo of action. Axel Kjær and Bastian Richter for Gridfinder and Unicorns of Love. And Richter absolutely had the run on the number 8 BMW M4 GT3 as they go through Curva Alboreto once again. The total amount of laps due to be a scheduled 88 by the estimation of the total racing time, which is the best part of nearly 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yes. Currently Lap 71 for the leading car of the William Esports Racer team. The first 16 cars still within 1 lap.
And after 88 laps, it will be the case of nearly 453 kilometers of total distance covered. And in miles,
I have no clue.
don't worry, I'm finding that out. Nearly 288 miles of competitive racing action.
Oh, and we still have more racing action to come, as seen here. The 21 car in the lead, that's Der Esports Junior, still yet to pit, now in 2nd place.
Yeah, it's been an absolute slobber knocker here at this fantastic circuit that is now officially 100 years old.
Oh,
it's nearly
yes.
it's over double my age by about 10 years. I hate to think, I'm not going to ask your age, buddy, but
it is 4 times my age.
25.
Pretty much exactly.
I'm old enough to be your dad, mate. But hey, you know, joking aside, this has been a fantastic race. But
oh yes,
we have had so much drama over the course of the 4 race days of competition, and also the 4 days of the ADAC SimRacing Expo. Here's the battle for P8. These 4 cars covered by about a second. Leo Racing, Gadachain Ballast Esports in the 808s, holding steady on to 8th position. But GTWR Esports in the number 15 was briefly looking up the inside through into the second Lesmo. The Lamborghini runs a little bit wide, trying to pull alongside with 23.5 minutes to go. Well, GTWR puts a curveball in the plans of Leo Racing, Gadachain Ballast Esports, and not only have they lost 8th, they've dropped to 11th position, because Dot Esports Junior and Team Fordzilla in the 21 and the 966 now move up and complete the top 10. 23 minutes to go. It's flat out until the checkered.
What an overtake. I mean, that's what we're talking about when we talk about seize the moment, take your chances, take the opportunity. It is not the usual spot for an overtake. We've seen many cars passing each other on the start-finish straight, well ahead of turn 1, but we have not seen one pass right out of Lesmo 2.
On board with Josh Boulain from Team Fordzilla, right in the wheel tracks of the junior squad from Dart Esports, the one who have brought the nightclub vibe to the paddock here in the Nürnberg Messe. And you can just see the 2 Porsches are closing on the Lamborghini. GTWR Esports 15 under threat from 2 cars from Weissach. Sant'Agata Bolognese is trying to uphold Italian pride here on home soil in this race. It's still too close to call. What's going to happen here?
Yes.
Bumping over the curbs through Della Roggia. And Poulain right to the wheel tracks, looking to pull into the inside of the first Lesmo. Thinks about it, backs out of the move, and now might get the better run. Here we go. Are they going to go up the inside into P9? Not through the second Lesmo, they won't, but they'll get the run. Coming out of the second Lesmo, through Saraglio, down into Variante Ascari. Turns 8, 9, and 10.
But Der Esports now getting a good exit out of Lesmo 2, therefore a good run through the straight. It all depends on how they go through this.
Oh, the back marker in front. Back marker in front has really compromised number 15, now 21. And here comes Josh Boulain. He's going to make it 3 wide, and he's stretched the eye of the needle through the middle. Brilliant anticipation from Josh Boulain with 21 minutes to go. Team Fordzilla again provide an absolute beautiful move, threading the eye of the needle. It might have been Geeks Energy, I think, that were the car that compromised the number 15. And then the number 21, and Josh Boulain was like a rat up a drain pipe.
Oh, yes.
To use a euphemism there. Absolutely brilliant. And now, what's more, Boulain closing in on GTWR, the Lamborghini under threat.
Still the best placed car with the exception of the 2 Mercedes AMG in the front and the Porsches in the top 10. Now 8th place for GTWR Esports. 10 seconds behind DV1 Triton Racing. And maybe we'll take the opportunity at the 20-minute mark here to give you a quick rundown of the grid. We have the both William Esports cars in place 1 and 2. Razor leading the race and Chill Blast in second place. We have ASAP Triton Racing 152 following 21 seconds ahead of the behind the leader and only 2 seconds behind the second placed Williams in third place. Der Esports fourth, ASAP Triton Racing 10 is on fifth, Veloce 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Those are DVI Triton Racing, GTWR Esports and Team Fortzilla.
Let's have a look at the replay. This is where Josh Poulain threaded the eye of the needle.
Oh, there's a small contact.
And that was the Door Esports car. Had to moved out of the way. The car suddenly, the back end stepped out to the left and the car was in the barriers and it is crabbing. Oh, disaster for Niklas Nolde. Meine Güte, Junge. That's all I'm saying on that one.
It has been such a good race for the Der Esports Junior team. They have been going through the field, driving ahead, gaining the places, and now they're still in the pit lane trying to recover from that hit into the wall.
Yeah, that just goes to show the minimal tolerances for issues when someone decides to go through the middle of two other cars. And maybe Door Esports, Niklas Nolde, not seeing it coming. And that's just quickly one of those things, unfortunately, that you get an incident like that. I feel sorry for Door Esports, but Nolde might not have seen it and then realised and panicked. That can catch people unawares on that front. But we are 18.5 minutes away from the conclusion of the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500.
And we still have battles emerging all over the field. It is close from front to back.
Right, welcome back. It's down to the final 18.25 minutes of the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500. Alex and Corby in the commentary box. Mate, it's been an absolute brilliant affair. We've just seen Josh Poulain do the threading the eye of the needle move, but Niklas Nolde from Door Esports Junior, and there's an investigation, but there was no, I did not see any contact. 9.66 and 21, so Josh Poulain under investigation by race control.
And 21, that's the Der Esports Junior car we've just seen fly off and hit into the barrier.
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. Right, we're getting papped left, right, and centre here in the commentary position. Especially, thanks, Lawrence. One good turn deserves another. I got him on one of the Hall 9 walks earlier on this week, whilst he was busy editing on his mobile phone. And now he's papped me. There we go. Thanks for that, mate. Brilliant. We're now back with Brabham Esports in the number 62. The 62 representing the 70-run limited edition BT62 track focus car by the company, now run by the son of legendary multi-time Formula One world champion, the late Sir Jack Brabham, David Brabham, who tonight will be attending the Autosport Awards. So have a good one, David. Enjoy tonight.
There's some contact.
Oh, there was a little bit of a love tap from behind on the WS Racing Esports car, the 512. And they don't need that kind of drama in this latter stage of the race here at Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. There is your race leader. Leading car. Oh no! Josh Poulain's got a stop and hold 5-second penalty with 16.5 minutes to go. What on earth? I didn't see any contact, but obviously race control.
Team Fortzilla car.
Yeah, that's Josh Poulain. But there is the Italian driver by the name of Moreno Sirica. Alessandro Bico was third last year in the Mahler Racing Team car, taking third, and it's going to be something special on the virtual recreation of their one of the major home tracks. Adria Raceway no longer in use at the moment, following on from last year, but Josh Poulain is going to be finding out that bad news very shortly, and he will not be happy about that one.
Oh, that's for sure.
That means that GTWR Esports, yeah, he's pulling to one side. He's let, looks like one of the Ballast Esports car goes through. That's the 808 Leo Racing Gadachain Ballast Esports car, the Mercedes AMG GT3 2020.
Now getting up with that overtake into 9th place, taking it from Team Fortzilla, and Team Fortzilla immediately serving that penalty. And we've seen the impact those 5-second stop-and-go penalty have already in the beginning of the race, where you start driving in 5th, 6th place, and then after going through the pit lane, you're back in 20th place.
Yeah, we're coming towards the last 15 minutes. A total of 88 laps will be completed by the end of the nearly 2 hours and 40 minutes of racing. When we got going at about 10:15 this morning, qualifying was already decided before the event had taken place, so at least the drivers could be fully focused. But here, with 33 teams in competition, and there is, now I recognise the back of that head there. That looks to be Louis Naza for Williams Esports. They brought a 2-car effort here to the digital GT500. And at the moment, Moreno Sirica, last time I checked, was leading by about 18.5 seconds.
Yes. 19 seconds now ahead for the leading Williams Esports Razor car.
They've done a fantastic job, have Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sirica qualifying the car. They were the car that got the jump on the field. I mean, apart from Redline, here's a replay powered by Heusinkveld.
And I think we're gonna see a small hit at the back here from Team Fortzilla. Getting here over to the light, and then there's one small hit.
There it is. It was the left front that connected from Team Fortzilla on the right rear of Door Esports. I kind of missed that because we saw 2 different angles, and that gave us the absolute right angle to. That's what race control would have seen, and they would have looked at it from a chase cam, like say the bonnet cam on the car involved. But that would have been the 966. Here are the 152 and the 20. So we've got the ASAP Triton Racing 152 and the number 20 of Door Esports.
They're still fighting for the podium. They are currently fighting for 3rd place, and they are close. 5th, 10th is Door Esports behind ASAP Triton Racing, flying through the corners, flying through the chicanes, down the straight into the Curve Alboreto.
You had to pause there, didn't you? You had to pause there.
But I still have to get it in my mind.
but this is the difference between taking home €1,000 and 800. So the top 3 prizes, along with the trophies for the ADAC Digital GT500, the winners will get €2,000. Second place, 1,250, and third will be €1,000. So this is the battle for the last of the 4-figure prize pool funds, prize pools in this event. 12.5 minutes to go, and I'm looking at the lap times. Oh, you know what? What have I spotted? Williams Esports Chill Blast are not giving up. Last time around, a 1 minute 48.4. Moreno Sirica, 1 minute 49.1. Folks, we could have a real dynamic. And look at the sector times. Look at the laps. 0.4 on lap 76, 77, another 0.4. Half a second on lap 78. Lap 79, Louis Naza was over 0.7 quicker. You know what?
They are trying their best.
They want this.
Oh,
they want this 100%. And I know for a fact that Williams, if they have to battle it out on track, they want it to be firm but fair. 11.5 minutes to go.
Yes, and Williams Esports Racer with that have no room for error. If there will be a slight mistake, even a slight hint of a mistake, Williams Esports Chill Blast will be there to take the lead and take the win of the ADAC Digital GT500. Right now we are driving alongside with GTW Esports. That's Giorgio Simonini and Leo Racing in 8th and 9th place, still battling it out through the track, going into Lesmo 1, then Lesmo 2, and back on the straight below the old oval.
Yep, Lorenzo Castellani in the number 808, chasing down one of the stalwarts of the GTWR Esports family, Giorgio Simonini. A very charismatic driver off the track, but also a hard charger on it. We are counting down the seconds and under investigation. Now this is between number 62, and that is Brabham Esports for the incident going through into Rettifilo, and that is the 512 of WS Racing Esports. That's where the incident has been picked up. Janis Albert running for Brabham Esports. And I think for 512, that was Moritz Beckel behind the wheel of that car as we head into the final 10 minutes of this race. We're on to lap number 8. We're about to complete lap number 81, and it is going to be, effectively a flat-out sprint. It's going to be about who wants it the most. Will it be Williams Esports Razor? Will it be Williams Esports Chill Blast? In a few moments, we will find out as Castellani gets past Simonini for 8th position. So a change, Mercedes bettering Lamborghini on that particular exchange. 6.2 litre naturally aspirated V8 front mounted versus 5.2 litre naturally aspirated V10 mid mounted, both rear wheel drive, both powerhouses, both guttural with the exhaust notes as we go through into the Della Roggia chicane. We ride on board with Giorgio Simonini in the number 15 Lamborghini Huracan GT3 Evo through Lesmo 1. Run the car wide, 2 wheels within the tram lines. No further action for incident number 12. 9 minutes remain. Gap now 16.4. Louis Naza again is pushing the envelope. And what's more, the best lap from the Chill Blast car, 1 minute 47.824. Williams Esports Razor, 1 minute 47.684.
I mean, they are running out of time, Williams Esports Chill Blast. If this race would last even the little bit longer, they would eventually gain up onto Williams Esports Razor, and we'll have that battle for first place. But they are running out of time.
Well, they are running out of time. They're running out of laps as well, because we are getting towards the last 5 or so laps. What?
Oh, yes.
Look at the 152. Absolutely launching it over the curbs through the Della Roggia chicane. You can just see the commitment from these drivers. They might be in the virtual world, but this racing is as real as anything else you'll ever see.
Oh, yes, and there's still so much on the line for those guys. It's Williams Esports Chill Blast in 2nd place. 17 seconds behind the leader, 3 seconds max behind them is ASAP Triton Racing, and then there's only 1.5 seconds to Dürr Esports in 4th place. So no room for errors, no room for mistakes. Everyone will try their absolute maximum, give everything into those last 10 minutes, those last few laps.
Just coming up to 7.5 minutes remaining of the digital GT500 for 2022. ASAP Triton Racing in the 152. Mateusz Norgaj versus Michael Hechel for Dürr Esports are still trying to battle, but the 152 has got the advantage running into the final stages of the race, and they have cantered away. The gap now extending to 1.8 seconds as the 152 Porsche powers down the main start-finish straight at about 250 plus kilometers an hour. Hard on the brakes, down to first gear, scrubbing off 180 kilometers an hour of speed as he bumps over through the second part of the Variante del Rettifilo in turn 2.
Down into Curva Grande, full throttle right-hander up until the Variante della Roccia. Previously, this just has been like a slight left kink, and at some point, because it got too fast, a chicane was instructed. Very tight, very close and difficult to drive. You need to know your braking points in Monza.
You definitely do. You need to know your braking points and your apex and exit points as well. And we've had the sunshine here at the circuit all the way through the race. It has been perfect conditions for GT3 action with 4 manufacturers out of the smorgasbord from GT3 current day machinery.
Oh yes, we've had the Porsche, we've had the Mercedes, we've had the Lamborghini, and a few, I think 2 BMW M4 GT3s in the field. Right now it's 2 Mercedes leading. Then we have Porsches all the way up until Leo Racing in 8th place on the Mercedes. A Lamborghini in the top 10 with GTW Esports on 9th place. And SimRacing Academy, the car with the number 133, rounding out the top 10.
And now, I can't believe this moment is actually coming here, because we are not that far away from crowning our 2022 champions. It has been an exciting 4 days of racing, starting on Thursday evening with the exhibitors race over at the race room experience stand here at Hall 8 to the immediate right-hand side of the commentary position. And again, another slow-mo. Look at the 152 bouncing over the curbs. Knight Rider ski mode in full effect, going through the Variante della Roccia. And there is the number 20 of DAR Esports. But consider this here, Corby. GTWR Esports number 15. Simonini wants to get the upper hand on Castellani in the latter stages of this race as we go to the last 5 minutes of this actually brilliant race. It's so good for the ADAC Digital GT500 to switch it to the Temple of Speed. We have been entertained.
Oh, we have definitely been entertained, and I think we will still be entertained for the remaining few minutes of the race. Lorenzo Castellani not being able to build a gap after overtaking Giorgio Simonini, and now he's super close right into turn 1 and 2, the first chicane. Now full throttle, curva grande up until Variante della Roccia. It will stay close, it will stay super hard fought.
That it will be. The sands of time slip away into the distance as we keep our eyes peeled on these two gladiators. As effectively, Monza is the Grand Prix equivalent of the old Colosseums back in Rome.
Yes.
You know, we've got 2 Roman gladiators, but we've also got 2 Roman gladiators leading the way with Williams Esports Razor. The pairing of Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sinica, both highly skilled, one full of youth and exuberance, the other one with steely veteran knowledge. And the pair are absolutely dynamite. I've seen them team up multiple times, as I said earlier on this season. The 24 Hours Esports Series Championship, they came in and literally for 3 rounds, no one could beat them. And to see them compete here, meet them in person, and you know what? When I see them cross the line, after we've done our bit here on the commentary stage, I'm going to go over and congratulate them in person. And there we have the number 55. 3 minutes to go.
Oh, and it's looking so comfortable for the Williams Esports Razor team. Yes, Williams Esports Chill Blast is gaining. Yes, the gap is closing, but it's still 14.2 seconds. It's only 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go. This will not be able to get closed down, and we will probably not see a fight. Not if there is a mistake. Not if there is something unexpected happening.
Louis Naza and Daniel Pastor would have liked to have beaten them on track. They've got the gap down to 14.2 seconds. If they had another 10 minutes, maybe they could get close.
That fight.
And now Simonini has got past Castellani for that 8th position again. So the highest place of the Lamborghinis, and even they are doing ski mode, going through the Della Roccia chicane. But very shortly, we will need to catch up with our race leaders because we are just under 2 minutes away. And then we'll have to go on to the final lap of this race. And you can see the amount of wheel work done by Moreno Sarica in the bottom left-hand side corner of the screen, because the Williams Esports drivers are literally, their rigs are right next door to each other, as in side by side, in a racing formation for an overtake. The gap now down to 13.3 seconds. It isn't going to be enough. And there is the number 2, second place car, the number 5.
Gaining by 1 second in the last lap
Louis Nars is on a charge. I know him too well, that guy. He's a great...
He's never going to give up.
He's never going to give up, and he's going to have a smile on his face. He's going to congratulate his teammates as he bumps his way over the De La Rocha chicane, and again the 152, nearly going all four wheels airborne, and then UOL decides to better everybody and does all four wheels off the track, as in up in the air and airborne. This is Captain Unicorns of Love requesting permission to take off here from Monza.
And obviously we will grant permission for some more spectacular images, some more spectacular racing. And what a race it has been. It has been intense from start to finish. We had Team Redline in pole position, getting a fantastic start. We've had drama, we've had contact, we've had clean racing, we've had overtakes, we've had everything the Temple of Speed can offer.
Moreno Sirica piloting the number 55 Williams Esports Razor Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo heads towards the start-finish line for what will be the 88th and final lap of the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500 here at the Temple of Speed, the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. As you can see by the steering inputs from Moreno Sirica on the bottom left-hand corner, he's just been going through the Rettifiglio chicane, and the final lap board is official. Just under, probably about 3.5 kilometers to go. Moreno Sirica going through Curva Grande.
And it's still so close, the entire field. We have the first 4 cars within 20 seconds. The first 5 cars within 30, 40 seconds only until Veloce in 6th place. It goes to show how high the competition is. We have 14 cars within 1 lap, and we have a dominating, a clean race leader with Williams Esports Racer.
Yeah, there's the second place car making its way through into the Lesmos as the timer has officially hit 0 here. It's basically the racing is done. There's ASAP Triton Racing 152 Jerzy Glacz and Mateusz Nogaj, the pairing that have made it through to the overall podium here. But now we turn our attention. Yesterday, Williams Esports took the ADAC SimRacing Expo Professional Trophy by SimRacing GP trophy and title. But now, from 3rd last year, Alessandro Bico will be absolutely emotional, and his teammate Moreno Sirica will bring that car across the line. It's double delight for Williams Esports, as from 3rd last year, Williams Esports Razor pick up the victory. They do the double.
It's Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sirica driving the car the last few meters across the finish line. Congrats to them. A fantastic drive from start to finish. A fantastic strategy, putting the pressure on their opponents and sticking that first place as soon as they got it.
6th to 1st and taking the overall victory. There are last year's winners, now the runners-up this season. Daniel Pastor and Louis Narzik gave it all they got, less than 14 seconds at the end of the race. And then we had ASAP Triton Racing in the 152 taking 3rd. Dor Esports, Lukas Müller and Michael Hechel rounding out the top 4. ASAP Triton Racing with Marcin Scherpreszak and Dominic Blyer. Great work by Patrick Wolf and Dominic Hoffman for Veloce to take 6th position. DV1 Triton Racing taking 7th place in the number 86 Porsche. And also good to see that Lamborghini made it into the top 10 courtesy of GTWR Esports. Number 15, the Lamborghini Huracan with Niklas Huben and Giorgio Simonini rounding out the top 8. 9th, it was Alessandro Bernardini and Lorenzo Castellani for Leo Racing Gatterchain Ballas Esports in 9th in the 808 Mercedes. And well done to Sim Racing Academy in the 143 Porsche. Johannes Belitz and Pascal Jutz rounding out the overall top 10. Also a good performance from Simon Amosa and Tobias Schmidt for IES SimRacing Schweiz in 11th place. Arnage competition. Kern Klopman, David Toth and Jimmy Antonez in the number 100 recovered to finish in 12th position. Biela Racing Team, Luca Wunsch and Connor Karnick making it up to 13th after drama for the number 45 car on the opening lap. Deutsche Payment and Nürburgring complete the top 14, courtesy of Dennis Wieker and Martin Schmidt. Then we've got Unicorns of Love, Lars Kisser and Bastian Richter coming from 30th after the opening lap to be 15th. And behind them, Gridfinder Racing, Domi Hoffmann and Axel Kjær bring the BMW home in 16th position. And even though you had Reese Carroll, Will Chadwick and Josh Poulain in the 966 Team Fordzilla car getting a stop and hold penalty after the drama with Door Esports Junior with that 3 wide Ada Vascari, Andrea Dalla Valle and Alessandro Porta for Absolute Motorsport in the 88 take 19th position. 20th, Geeks Energy, Sean Terra, the youngest pro driver here, with Peter Andel rounding out the top 20 in the number 17. Brabham Esports, Yannis Albert and James T. Armstrong, 21st. WS Racing Esports, Dominic Nurkel, Lucas Lang and Moritz Peckel taking 22nd in the 512 Mercedes. Geeks Energy, Max Palmer and Loris Müller, 23rd. 4th, Reiter Engineering Esports, Podol, Bauer, Kuhn and Podol rounding out the 24th position. 25th, Michael Teichmann, good to see him here, fresh from his exploits for Team Mexico at the FIA Motorsport Games. And Gay Sonneveld rounding out the top 25. Ren Velten, David Michel and Samir Ibrahimi, 26th. Then we had Romanenko, Shiap and in Ballas Esports Gata Chain in 27th. And then we also had quite a few casualties, the biggest of which on lap number 49, Team Redline. There's Louis Naza and Daniel Pastor, all smiles, despite having been winning it last year with Urano Esports. They could have been the first team to have done the double in 2 teams in 2 years. But there's Alessandro Bico. Alessandro, give us a wave, please.
I don't think he can hear us.
Well, he should be able to. He's just behind the back of the stage. No, but they're behind the stage there. Everyone's giving congratulations to them. Williams winning. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the highlights of the 2022 ADAC Digital GT500 at Monza. Well, the start got underway. Redline were under investigation for a potential jump start, but it was the number 55 of Williams Esports Razor that got the jump on everyone else behind. However, down into the Rettifilio, dramas here for Kramer Racing and the Unicorns of Love, and it caused a concertina effect, which also affected the likes of GTWR Esports in the number 16. More dramas for the 15, who got punted from behind, and then Brabham Esports found the wall on the outside of Della Roggia.
Yeah, we've had a spin coming out of Lesmore 1 with a hard hit into the barrier and the first casualty of the race.
Yeah, Bieler Racing managing to make their way up the order. That 1080 didn't help. But then, this was the bump draft moment between 55 and 100. Williams Esports Razor pulling alongside, using the side draft to get through into second position past Arnage Competition with a handful of Porsches behind.
I've had a moment of the esports here outside of Lesmo 2, getting overtaken by 2 cars here, by just going a bit wide. A dive into turn 1, beautiful overtake by the number 8 car here to gain up another position.
Yeah, that was Gridfinder and the number 69, and there was further dramas between the 16 and the 69 at Della Roggia, and there was smoke billowing from the back end of the 69 Porsche 911, and that really was game over for that car. Then there was more dramas with the 15 and the 143. GTWR versus SimRacing Academy, the latter forced out wide coming out of Della Roggia, and then it was 3 wide with Door Esports, and then this moment here, one of the moves of the race. Overtake. 152, and it was ASAP Triton Racing doing a number on both Williams Esports Razor and Arnage Competition, coming out of Alboreto and heading down into Della Roggia, and then the number 10 obliged, dropping Arnage down a further position with the number 5, but then the accident between them happened, and that caused Arnage Competition's race and contention for the ADAC GT500 to be out and for the count. The number 21 of the junior team from Door Esports also lost the back end going through the Rettifilio chicane. And then also battling away for round about the bottom part of the top 20, Geeks Energy, number 53, round the outside through into the middle part of Della Roggia. Another great move. WS Racing Esports also losing it at the Rettifilio and managing to rejoin safely.
Now that was about 1 hour 54 to go on the race. We had the first pit stops coming in, and William Esports doing the strategy trick on Team Redline, shortening their pit stop and therefore leaving the pit lane right at the back, at the rear of Team Redline, and putting the pressure on for the continuing 20 to 30 minutes.
Dort Esports Junior versus Deutsche Payment Nürburgring down the start-finish straight with the number 21 getting ahead. But that was just the first part of the chapter. Here's the three-wide moment that we saw coming out of Ascari with Deutsche Payment on the in the middle. Absolute Motorsport towards the inside of Alboreto, but Dort Esports Junior getting the better of them. Then there was this moment as Unicorns of Love neatly using the side draft and also the toe to get past the 512 of W-Racing Esports down the main start-finish straight. But then this drama happened. Team Redline, not having observed the fuel level going into the pit lane, would run out of fuel, return to garage, and on lap 49, their race was over.
And from that on, it was Williams Esports Racer dominating the race. We've seen other overtakes here, for example, Gridfinder Racing overtaking K. Kramer Racing. 3 white or 3 cars battling it out on the start-finish straight, with a better end for Der Esports ahead of the other 2.
Yeah, the battles were thick and faster than this one. The 512 versus the 35. WS Racing Esports and Geeks Energy coming into contact not just once, but twice through Alboreto. And then this little beautiful pit stop from the 152 of ASAP Triton Racing, keeping them in the hunt for the final step on the rostrum ahead of Dort Esports. Gridfinder Racing and Unicorns of Love will go side by side from Ascari down to Alboreto with the number 14, making their way up to 17th position. But then this dramatic moment with 23.5 minutes down, still to go, going through Seraglio, down into Ascari. It was the likes of GTWR Esports et al. That were going through. But then this touch from Team Fordzilla gave them the biggest dramatic moment,
yes,
along with Arnage competition, as the junior squad were pretty much out. And Team Fordzilla got a 5-second stop and hold penalty. More dramas ensued as Team Brabham Esports. But Alessandro Bico and Moreno Sarica become your 2022 ADAC Digital GT500 champions on home soil.
And they were not to beat today in this fantastic race. Intense from the beginning to the end. I could not have imagined more drama. You could not have written a better script than this.
Well, that concludes the grandstand finale for 4 days of racing here at the ADAC SimRacing Expo. Let's hand over to Luke and Matt Sit on the stage, guys. Back to you.
Of course, as Alex mentioned about 47 times, it is a temple of speed, but it was a brilliant race.
Yes, absolutely. I enjoyed it a lot. My favorite moment was this mentioning that you have to know your braking points at Monza. It's really, really so important. I just didn't know that.
That's the biggest thing you've learned, isn't it, this week? That you have to know where to brake.
Absolutely.
If you don't know where to brake, you just hit the car in front of you. It helps you.
What can I say? It is that. As simple as that.
But now it's time to indeed announce our top 3, and in 3rd position in the ADAC GT500, it is Triton Racing.
Where are they? Triton Racing, give it up for the guys. Congratulations. Congrats. And here are your trophies, of course. And while they are handed to you, there you go. I only have one question. So, who wants to answer? What's your perception of the race, perhaps? Just give it a little recap.
Yeah, I'm really happy that we ended up on 3rd position. We've put a lot of effort in the training, and I'm really happy that we managed to achieve P3, that high result. We wanted, of course, higher position, but we are really happy that we managed to get P3.
Congratulations again. Please stay on stage, and we go on with the ceremony.
Come on, lads. In 2nd position then of the ADAC GT500, it is Williams Chill Blast.
And here they
They're coming. Come on. Williams Chill Blast. There we go.
Yes. Congratulations, guys. And here are your trophies, of course. Yes. Fair handshakes over here. Who wants to answer my question? You, perhaps? Like, it's only one. It's only concerning your perception
if we get
of the
Triton.
race. How are you doing?
Guys, if you guys go in the middle, Williams go in the
How
middle.
do you do? What's your perception of the race?
It was really, really good. We've had a really rough start. We lost a few positions, and then we really had to catch everything back up. And it worked really well for us. We've made a really good strategy, and it worked out perfectly, pretty much.
Congratulations to that. Very nice racing. This is your trophy. Second place, Williams Esports. Congrats again.
If you could just stick around because I have a big group picture in a minute. And for the second day in a row in our major championships, and well, we've just seen one of their teams, the winner of the ADAC 2022 GT500 is Williams Razor. They are coming from somewhere.
You're already there, guys, right?
Come into the middle here, then.
Come on, come in the middle. Hey, congrats, first of all. And is there anything you want to say, like your perception of the race? Thank you. Something?
First of all, I guess thanks to the team, because we worked together during the last week very hard to find the good balance for the race and for the qualifying. And then, of course, at the start, he did a brilliant job, managed to put our car in a really good place. And then, of course, Triton and Redline had their own problems, and from that point onwards, we just managed the race.
And you did very, very well. That's your first place. Here come your trophies, of course, and there's the applause from the audience right now, right? Yes, we have some, I guess. Also, other teams, thank you for being so fair to come around. And then, please, the other teams step forward.
We'll go to the middle, have a nice picture.
Come to the middle of the stage for a winner's picture.
Come back up. Yeah, either side.
Of course, yeah.
It's branding.
You're very welcome to also step on stage, ladies.
If one of you go either side, be a nice picture.
There they are, top three of the digital ADAC GT500 race. Congratulations again. Rise your trophies if you like. Yes, that is nice. And that's again your applause. Here you go. Yes.
Well done, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for your performance. That was amazing. Enjoy your day. Go party as hard as you want. Like probably with gummy bears on the sofa or something. Enjoy. Thanks a lot.
So there you have it, another ceremony for the GT500 here at the SimRacing Expo 2022. But it's not the only racing that we have today. We've also got some eNASCAR action for you. We've also got some game show action as well.
Absolutely.
Where we will see some of the best sim racing ever on Mario Kart.
Abso-freaking-lutely. And Luke and I are actually going to be opponents in that exhibition there, over there, right? It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, you stay away.
Yeah. Okay.
Team Luke.
Team Matze. It's gonna be awesome.
Zero chance.
I also heard Luke will sing later. Let's see. But first of all, head into a tiny little break, then we'll be back soon. See ya.
The work on the simulator can really improve our performance on the track. We have seen we work a lot on the simulator with Alpine.
Obviously in Formula One we're operating the absolute pinnacle of motorsport. The TRX starts to bring esports to that same level of performance. It's equipment for the very best at the very top end of the market.
I do want the TRX track racer, yeah, definitely. Please.